Alrighty, welcome back to Cinema Pursuit, everybody. Today I'm here with my co-host, Zach.
Hey, what's up?
And we have Catie here again, our co-producer. Say what's up.
Hey guys, I'm here.
And our new guest today, we've got a fantastic one. She has La La Land sitting on her letterbox top 4 as long as I've known her. She's one of the funniest and coolest people I've ever had the chance of encountering on TikTok. Everybody say hello to Kat, aka Leslie Lope's daughter.
Hi, that was so kind. Thank you. Love it.
Glad to have you on.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, and I love how you said encounter. I was saying before we started, but I saw Vikash randomly walking the streets of Chicago. I live in Chicago. He doesn't. So random.
The most random experience I've had in Chicago thus far.
Yeah.
I guess I hope to have more. I don't know what else to say.
It's a crazy city. You never know.
Yeah, we're really excited to have you on. When we were talking about initial guests, when me and Vikash and Kat wanted to start this podcast, you were brought up pretty early.
Love it.
So happy to have you here.
Thanks, y'all.
La La Land is a movie that we all have a very big love for. It's a special movie to us too. But Kat, what are your first memories or any memories in between for La La Land?
First off, I'm kind of hoping one of you hated it because I just love a little back and forth, but at the same time, it's the correct answer to love it, so that's also a thing. But yeah, so my first memory, hold on to your seats because I swear it matters when you watch a movie, the mood you're in, because the first time I saw it, I was like, I don't know. Crazy. The first time I saw it, I think I was like, I didn't see it immediately in theaters. Oh my God. I would have been like 17 when it came out. And I think I left and I was like, I don't know. I'm not sure. I almost felt I was like, it was pretty, but maybe boring. I think my brain was fried from whatever high school shenanigans I thought was so important and I was busy with at the time. And I don't know, because I don't know if you guys feel this way, but I swear I'll see a movie and I'll be like, that was amazing, 4.5 stars. And then I'll see it like a month, a year later, whatever. And I'm like, why did I put that at 4.5? So
it happens all the time.
I'm careful with my rewatches now.
All the time.
Yeah, it even happened with with Asteroid City, just a recent movie. The first time I saw it, I was like, amazing. And then I saw it again and I was like, what? And then I saw it again and I was like, amazing. I don't know, maybe I just noticed different things.
I'm sitting
It's
in the air for Asteroid City.
I want to rewatch it. I really liked it, but I'm just a Wes Anderson girly, so that's just me. I feel like it has so much depth to it, but I need to watch it like 5 times before I can even do an episode on it, honestly.
I don't even know if I've seen most movies I really like 5 times.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
I've seen La La Land 5 times, I'll tell you that. This is
we've
one of
seen
the
La
few
La Land a
movies.
bunch.
Yeah, I remember the last time we watched it, me and Zach were just on the couch, and we're just like, should we watch La La Land? And we watched it on a whim, and it was amazing.
It's good
Y'all
vibes.
just put that shit on.
It really is.
It's good vibes.
So yeah, tell us about what changed your mind. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not really. I think I just, I don't know if it's like an ADHD thing. I'm even rewatching a show right now that I just like more the second time because I notice things. And I think that's it. And then I think I rewatched it like 3 more times immediately when there was so much discourse about it. Because I was like, I feel like I was fried when I watched that. Like, I need to watch it again. And then I think the more I watched it, I like it more and more each time I watch it, I swear. And I guess just, I don't know if I have a total reason. I think just the headspace I'm in and what I'm when I think about like my own life, or like I learn more about how they made the movie, like I learned more about Damien Chazelle because everyone was talking about that movie and him at the time. And then I think the second time I watched it, I like really sat there, and I don't think I felt like this. I'm young, maybe it'll happen again, but in my life, I don't think where I've been like, no, my grandkids will watch that movie. Like, I think I just got hit with this is like an instant classic. And I think I just really soaked in how Sebastian and Mia like meet before, a little enemies to lovers to strangers to appreciators. Yeah, so I don't know. I think I just yeah. I think, honestly, I don't have a lot of answer other than just focusing on how they meet. And I think I was just fried the first time I watched it. But now I love it. And I also find that with other friends. I'm like, you should watch it. And they're like, well, I didn't like it. And I'm like, why? They're like, they didn't end up together. And I'm like, and then the more they watch it, they also like. But that wasn't my problem the first time. Yeah.
Those are the best ones when they don't end up together.
Did you watch Past Lives this year?
That was my number, in my ranking, that was my number 1 movie. of the year.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you understand the vibe then. That's
yeah,
what it
and then
is.
I did realize somebody commented like on my TikTok, and I made a TikTok about it because at the time I change around all the time. I don't remember what they are. I could really scroll through my TikTok. I post so much, but somebody commented that like all of my Letterboxd top 4 were like a right person, wrong time, like kind of trope. And I was like, what does that say about me? Like what? Because, like, not to get too personal, but I literally just don't date. Like, I just don't. I don't know. And so I'm like, I don't even have, like, experience. That's not happened to me. So I'm like, what? So anyway, weird.
All I'm going to say is same boat.
Wait, because this is funny. So, not to get too into my personal life, but me and Kat, we met in high school. We're the only people we've only dated each other. But I love movies where people find who could possibly be their soulmate and then it just doesn't work out. I like, Lost in Translation.
Mm-hmm. That was the other one on my Letterboxd top 4.
Oh, I love that's one of my favorites of all time. Past Lives, La La Land. I always love these movies where 500 Days of Summer where they just don't get together. So I kind of get what you're saying there, maybe from the opposite end of the spectrum, but still, like, it's not anything any of us have really experienced, but it's movies that we love watching.
Yeah, I want to know the root cause, but I almost find myself, like, when I watch a movie and they do get together at the end, I'm like, corny bullshit. I'm like, get it out of here. I don't know why. Like,
it's cheap. Why are you doing that?
Am I secretly like rooting against them? Like, I swear I was rooting for them in the movie. I don't know. I really, I don't know. And I even remember I responded to that person's TikTok.
I have a whole thing about it. Don't worry.
Okay, like, what do you think? Like, why? Why am I this way?
Why am I broken?
Yeah. I don't know.
There's usually people you have to go see for that, and you have to pay them a lot of money.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Welcome to the therapy session, guys.
Yeah, dude, I pay for that shit. Don't worry.
Literally crazy.
The reason why I ask your memories of seeing the movie is because we all have the same memory because we saw the movie together.
Oh, cute.
We have a local film festival. Yeah, like the Savannah Film Festival. And we had seen Whiplash at the festival, like right after we graduated high school. So that movie was already an instant classic for us. So we're like, oh, Damien Chazelle, he made another movie. They didn't put it out in July. They pushed the movie. So we're like, oh, let's go see it early at the festival. We went, saw it. Chazelle was there. I'm talking about one of the greatest experiences of our lives. Like after the movie, like Another Day in the Sun, after that played, it was one of the loudest applauses I've ever heard in a movie ever. Like, just from the opening, people were in on the movie.
It was one of the biggest ones.
It was also one of the only time I've been in a theater where at the end everybody stood up and applauded, like they were standing ovation.
And then the director comes out.
Yeah, and then,
I love film
I remember telling Zach, I was like, yeah, he's winning his Oscar for this. This was October, like before all the Oscar hype and all that. I was like, I don't care. Like, this movie is amazing. And I remember after the movie ended, after that, like that gut punch of an ending, we just sat there and we let the credits roll. People got up. I was just like, dang, like, that was a lot. I was like, I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for any conversation.
Yeah, and it was really cool that Chazelle came out too and did like a Q&A. He had some other people with him too, I think. And he was, took a ton of time to talk to the crowd, took questions, did like a really cool Q&A with the audience. And, at that time, I mean, he was still kind of small. Like, I mean, he only did Whiplash, which, blew up and got nominated for Best Picture. But he still was not like had this command of the industry that he garnered after La La Land, like really taking over, making a lot of money, getting a lot of nominations. So just to see him there before he really blew up was really cool.
That's insane.
Oh yeah, that was my first film fest too.
That you guys saw it with him.
Yeah.
No, like it's like when it comes to festivals, like Kat, for anybody listening, if you get to go to a film festival, just buy tickets, whatever movie it is, go see the movie, because watching movies in the theater, like people aren't as into the movies as they were before, but if you go to a film festival, the people are there for that, and the experiences there are always fantastic. We saw A Quiet Place like 6 months after it came out in theaters, and I'm talking about every jump scare and everything. Like, people are laughing in the theater like I am.
It was fantastic. John Krasinski was there.
Oh yeah, Krasinski, Blunt, all that. But it's like the people, like the audience was amazing. I always advocate for like film festivals.
Oh yeah, Film Fest is always great.
That's literally incredible. I'm so happy for y'all. The Chicago Film Festival was like, oh my god, it was in October, and it was at some like family reunion. I was like, I can't get out. I can't miss that. Like what would be my valid excuse? They would be like, Kat, what? You don't want to see us? Like,
you're going to see him.
Yeah. So
I saw Bike Riders this year, so I saw it like 8 months before everybody,
No.
so I got a little.
No, that's
this
Mom,
incredible.
you don't understand.
Yeah.
Celine Song's here. I have to miss the family reunion.
No, literally, I'm determined this fall to be there. I think it's October every year here, but even if I catch a little somewhere else, I'll travel, whatever.
I'm sure
But
it's
yeah.
got to be pretty big at being Chicago too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I live right by the theater where like so many things were happening. Yeah, sad. But yeah, definitely need to go to a film festival. It won't be as great of an experience as you guys. I'm like thrown aback. I'm like, damn.
But like La La Land is like the best experience we've had there.
Yeah.
Period.
I can imagine.
After
sure.
like at least like 5 years going, if not more.
It's
Like we've been quite a few years.
And, you know, part of that, Vikash, is what I would say is that, you know, with Twitter and everything, I tend to now know how good or bad a movie's supposed to be before I go into it.
Yeah.
And that was still a time where I didn't do that. And when I went to the film festival, it was literally off your recommendation. And even I'm not sure even if you knew if it would be good or not. And then we would just go in. Like
I
when we
was
went to
in.
see
I
Whiplash,
was
I didn't
all
know who
in.
Damien Chazelle was, you know, and now he's one of my favorite directors. So I do think as the movie industry has promoted itself to where you kind of know everybody's reaction, Rotten Tomatoes, Letterboxd before you go see it, it does kind of take away that little element of surprise unless you really work not to do that.
Yeah.
I do miss that a little bit.
Yes, I have one friend who, this is kind of a funny story. He likes Marvel especially, and they give away everything in the trailers. So he stopped watching trailers for
Yep.
everything. He's like, I'm done. And so he doesn't want to know.
Yeah, pretty
He
much.
doesn't want to know a damn thing. So then I started doing that. I was like, that's a good idea. So I watched Iron Claw without knowing what the hell it was about. And
Oh.
I thought it was like hot guys, funny. I thought it was funny. Like I didn't know. Because they have
Oh,
like a
no.
fun
Oh,
80s.
I haven't even seen it, but I talked about
Yeah.
it. Oh no.
They have like a fun that I saw little of the trailer, just like a preview, but I try and like whisper to a friend next to me or like not pay attention to the previews that much or like literally purposely get there late because I don't want to see trailers. And I genuinely thought it was like a little sadness, like Creed Rocky vibes, like of like where it's overall a fun time.
Oh
and
no,
there
it
was
is not that.
sna-
Zach
oh
has
my
not
God.
seen it. He's been avoiding it.
I know the story though.
So, Kat,
yeah.
did you
There
cry?
was
Because
snot
I cried.
like in my
I cried.
mouth, like running down my face, and I literally looked to my roommate and I go, because she had seen it before, but she loved it. She's like, I want to see it again. She didn't mention anything either, and I literally go,
Oh, nice.
what the fuck? And I stare at her.
We'll be your brothers.
No, actually, what the hell? And then there were these two girls next to me, and they were crying too. And I said, what the fuck? And they go, yeah. And I go, did you know what it was about either? And they go, no, I just love Jeremy Allen White. I go, God damn it.
Oh, I never thought about that. Jeremy Allen White and Zac Efron being in that movie probably attracted a crowd that really would not have
Are you
an
kidding
idea.
me? This is a very interesting and attractive movie, and then you go in and you find out it's heavy. No.
But it's still one of the best movies this year.
Yeah,
We're not going to talk
you
about
had
it, but it needed
mentioned,
Oscar
you were like,
nomination.
oh, you see Iron
Jeez.
Claw, and I was like, I'm gonna, because I see everything in theaters, unless it's like, looks like something I genuinely hate. I go see
Yeah.
it. But I actually looked at my room and I go, what the fuck? So I don't even know how we got on this topic, but I try and not watch trailers, but it's kind of like gotten me in a little trouble there.
Maybe you do like the teaser trailer and that's it.
Yeah, that's what I do.
I did watch a little bit of the
I don't watch
preview for
any-
Iron Claw, and it looked like, I swear,
Oh no.
I'm defending myself. They made that shit look like a fun sports movie.
Oh, yeah,
did.
they do.
They
do.
did.
They
did.
plug up the Rush
Yeah.
song and everything, and it
Whatever.
looks
Yeah,
awesome.
it's just like the.
It looks dope and it doesn't look heartbreaking.
The La La Land teaser trailer is one of the best trailers
Wait,
I've
I
ever
saw
seen.
it before this.
I literally,
to prepare.
yeah, it's like 90 seconds. It's like it's a minute 30, and
What
it's
scene is it? A
fantastic.
scene?
You don't
What
know,
is it?
and-
Like what's?
no, it's just clips.
Oh,
no
okay,
context.
so
And
it's
La
like
La Land
very.
makes
Yeah,
it
that's
just
good.
look like a
Yeah.
pretty happy, dancey, musical fun time, and it's
And
beats you up a little.
it's-
So it's
it's-
also misleading.
So Zach, I brought this up when we saw the movie. We didn't know what the budget was for this movie and how much money it made. We usually don't talk about it, but it is a very surprising number. Zach, do you know either one of those numbers?
I don't know either. No,
They made this movie for $30 million. I thought it looked like 60 when we saw it.
30.
And they made it $472 million.
Holy crap.
This was a blockbuster hit.
That's way more than what I would have
What
guessed.
30 is
Shit.
crazy. Also,
It's really good ROI,
30.
guys.
wait, Yeah, 30. Okay, to compare to a movie that came out I don't think about budget much, but I'm just going to compare because I was watching, did you guys watch Theater Camp this year?
I've been meaning to.
Yeah.
It's good, silly time. I liked it. But I was watching it with my roommates, and one of my roommates made a comment like, "Oh my god, the budget for this must have been like nothing." But it was like $15 million.
For that?
So you like compare how the hell?
So two La La Lands.
That looked like an
Those is a
indie
La La
movie, like a
Land.
real indie movie. Like
Yeah. So I'm like,
And in the same year, Moonlight was made for $1 million. So I mean,
okay, either that or
Moonlight's $1
Coda
million?
had the small. I think that had the smallest budget, and I think Coda was next, right, of any modern Oscar winner. Yeah.
for
I was gonna say Coda had
Well,
a
I don't.
small
I think
budget
Moonlight's
too.
was smaller. Coda was 10, and Moonlight was
Yeah.
1. I think that's what it was.
oh my god,
Jeez.
I love Moonlight. I mentioned Moonlight a lot. Yeah, because I know you were kind of asking if you think La La Land is like underappreciated, and I would say no. I think it's appropriate. I think it's appropriately appreciated. It's super appreciated. Like
I love
Yeah,
it.
I was gonna save the spiel for the Oscar stuff, but I do just want to say I think when a movie is a Best Picture frontrunner for too long, it starts to get a lot of criticism that goes beyond of criticizing the movie. Like for instance, like La La Land was the Oscar frontrunner. I remember this year for like 3 or 4 months, like ahead of time. So it took a lot of criticism. And I saw the same thing happen with, like, for instance, 1917, perfectly good movie. Not my best picture pick for that year, but it got a ton of crap because it was in the lead the whole time until Parasite won. And then the same thing happened with La La Land, to where I think the backfire from all that was really intense, where you say underappreciated or overappreciated. I think it was underappreciated for a long time. And then since it lost, actually people came back around to it to be like, oh, maybe we gave this movie a hard time. Maybe it was just we were caught in the moment where we really wanted like Moonlight to win, and this was going to win, so we were mad at it. And now that that's gone, we were able to appreciate it properly.
what happened to Babylon though?
That's
Because they fumbled on Babylon. I think all four of us are like Babylon stans here, and that movie did get its fair share.
no,
it still
but
has
it never
right?
was. It basically was a middle finger to Hollywood. It was never gonna
It's a
get.
good point. I never
It
thought of
wasn't
it
gonna-
that way because the first half's a love letter. The second 90 minutes are
Yeah,
a fuck you to Hollywood.
It's a.
yeah.
I think
I
the
mean,
thing
yeah.
is that Damien has this like fascination with process, and he show all four of his like big movies. They're about process, and it's like, is this process worth whatever you're going through? Like, is the cinema worth the hassles that they're going through in that one? We'll talk about it at some point,
Yeah.
but it's like it's a whole thing. And I love Chazelle for it. Like he cooks. When he cooks, bro cooks. And this movie is something else.
Chazelle really moves the camera in all of his movies in a way that you don't really see from most modern filmmakers. I hate to just like call it Spielbergian, but it's very Spielberg.
Oh no. Okay, so Kat, have you seen West Side Story and have you seen Shape of Water? Okay, so at the end of Shape of Water, there's a dance scene. And it looks very much, it's in black and white. It very much looks like an epilogue at the end of La La Land. So I'm comparing Shape of Water to La La Land, and La La Land's better. I'm watching West Side Story from Spielberg, and I'm like, oh, your camera movement is not as good as Chazelle's in La La Land. So the first watch for both of those movies, I'm like, this movie's not as good as La La Land.
So you're
you
saying
know?
because both, I mean, I
That's
know
fair.
Shape of Water is not a musical, but they both do some of those fantastical elements that musicals do. So I get
Yeah.
what you're saying there. But, you know, there's probably not many modern, I'm not a big musical guy, just typically.
I am.
But I'm just
I
saying
am.
for
I
the
love
ones that I've seen,
musicals.
typically the cinematography has not been the highlight of it. And this is one of the rare ones where it is, La La Land.
That's a good point.
This is one of the best shot movies of the 2010s,
Yeah.
period.
Or the.
I mean, okay, there's her, and then there's this. And maybe, like, some other movies come in, but, like, these just amazing ones.
Off the top of your head.
Tree
like,
of Life, but yeah.
top two right there.
Tree of Life, yeah.
True. Yeah.
We're not gonna go down the rabbit hole.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna start making. I'm gonna go on Letterboxd and make my favorite shot movies of the 2010s.
Zachary,
right now.
we do not have time for that. Do it tomorrow.
Keep firing your process.
Actions of Juice. So it's the most juice scene of the movie. What is the most juice scene for you? I guess go with the first one that you have. Your favorite one.
Well, I really like their conversation after she gets off her shift and they're like talking and they're starting to like just kind of having small talk to where she goes, yeah, I hate jazz. I should just get this out of the way. I think that's when like it all started because that's when he wanted to learn about her and she was like, okay, I want to learn about everything with you, but I hate jazz. And then he's like, oh, I'm going to show you and make you love jazz. So then I just think it's something where I think she loved him, and then so she started to love jazz because she started to appreciate him and his art. So I think that's kind of where it all like exploded from there. I think that's where the movie like almost like really starts.
Yeah, that whole conversation is amazing. So you know how they're passing, like they're shooting like a scene in the background. That scene that they're actually shooting in the background, the two actors that are in that scene are actually Emma and Ryan stand-ins.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's funny.
Yeah, and I love that bit
great.
so much because after they yell cut, they start arguing with each other. They start bickering
That's
as a
so
joke.
good. I did not know that.
Yeah, Katie and I were talking about that scene last night actually, and it's really funny because like he talks early in the movie how he won't date anybody who doesn't like jazz, but when she says that she hates jazz, it's like that's a different thing. He's like, wait, you can't just hate jazz. Like, you must not understand it, because if someone doesn't like it, he would be like, oh wait, screw you. But when she says she hates it, that's more visceral of a reaction. So Ryan Gosling is just like, let me actually show you what jazz is, and that's goes on from there. But I thought that was a really cool like little difference in how she says it.
So it's mansplaining. That's what it is. It's just a scene of mansplaining.
Well, so it's not just that. I think there's a little bit of that, like, he's telling his sister earlier on, she doesn't like jazz, does she? Like, I don't want to meet this girl. Mm-hmm. But then he's talking to someone he seems to like and have chemistry with, and she says she hates it. She doesn't like jazz. And it's not just oh, you don't understand, but also hey, I found common ground and I kind of like this person. Let me see if I can get them on my side on this one thing that's important to me. Mm-hmm. And that's part of a relationship, is just if someone doesn't like something and it's just because they haven't been exposed to it before, some exposure therapy.
No, but I think that it's a very real thing. Not in my life, but like I've seen it happen where a person will start dating somebody and then their music taste kind of shifts over to them also.
It does.
It's happened to me. It's happened to people. Yeah, that totally. Yeah.
Because I have friends, they have playlists. They literally have playlists, and I'm like, if I hear them playing it, they're in the deeps. They're having a bad
day. I think just it's just interesting. I think the movie like really gets interesting, and I think that's where people who are maybe even hesitant because it's a musical, I think that's when they get hooked, because their relationship is just so interesting. When he's like, I'm gonna show you Rebel Without a Cause and also jazz, so he's like helping her. I think it's also, he looked like, I'm asking all about your movies and I'm interested in this and you don't like what I do. I think that's what makes them interesting, and I think that's the whole point of their relationship, is they push each other, and that's kind of when it starts. So
it's a big theme. It's a big theme for Damien. It's always about like people pushing each other in certain ways. Yeah. Very good dynamic for relationships, at least for movies. I mean, I don't know about real life.
Well, they don't tend to end up together in his movies, so
True. Another scene, I feel like I kind of go in like order of the movie almost, but when I really love the scene where they're playing Start a Fire, and Emma Stone's just like overwhelmed because he taught her. It kind of goes hand in hand with my first example. He taught her jazz and about how amazing it is and all the parts, and then and how he takes this shit so seriously. Like, he's trying to preserve what it is in his mind. And then she goes to see Start a Fire, and it's like a rock concert. It's like a pop and rock show, and everyone's jumping up and down, and she looks around like, and there's flashing lights, and she's like, what the hell? And you can tell like he's thriving, but she's like, since I've known you, this is like what you're against, and now this is you. And I think that's where everything gets interesting, and you can't really be mad at one or the other, because like he has been wanting like a stable job, and she's been wanting that for him, and then he gets it, but he kind of had to like compromise to get it, and she's saying you shouldn't compromise, and I think that's just where the tone shifts to
more serious.
I like the use where it's like it's like the most fun song pretty much. I mean, you could argue like someone in the crowd, whatever, but like in the whole soundtrack, and when that's playing, that's when everything shifts to like darkness in their relationship.
It's interesting that you use the word compromise too, because that's what he keeps talking about. When he explains jazz to her, he says it's conflict and compromise, and that's kind of the key to unlock the movie, is that the whole movie is about the conflict that they want to achieve these certain dreams, and they're trying to figure out the compromise to how to be in each other's life while achieving these dreams. And clearly it doesn't work out, but that's what they're trying to do: conflict and compromise.
Wait, that's incredible.
I only thought of that today when I was doing this. I promise I didn't like have this locked away for years. I just thought of this today.
Katie, do you hit me with the juice scene for you?
I always have a bunch written down, but I'll go with one, and then if someone doesn't mention another, I'll circle back. They're all important. Every scene, the whole movie.
This movie actually is that movie where I'm
it is.
You could pick any scene in this movie.
And it's all, you could argue everything.
Yeah, it is.
So my selection is the dinner at the apartment where Seb comes back and surprises Mia, and he makes dinner for them. And she is asked to go with him to Boise. And he's like, you can rehearse there, right? And she's like, well, my show's in 2 weeks. I kind of need to get set up here. All my stuff's here. Like, I need to rehearse in my environment. And then she starts asking about how long he's going to tour for. And he's like, well, this is the dream, right? This is the life. And she's like, it's not yours. And it's because he has, like we said, compromised his dreams because he's trying to provide a stable job within the music industry, and he doesn't like it. He doesn't like the music he's producing, but it's so then he can keep his girlfriend, he can have some stability, and she's like, you're giving up your dreams for this? That's not it. And it turns into this whole thing where clearly both of them know exactly what's wrong with each other. It's just so sad because you see it. You can see the future where it's not going to work. You can see that he wants to pursue a dream in music and she wants her dream in the film industry. In music, you either have your jazz club or you're touring for years. And with film, you are stationary in one spot anywhere, or again, you're traveling a lot. And here we see where she's stationary and he's traveling, but
I don't know if y'all know musicians, but I know a couple. And it's like anyone else, if you're given, like, if John Legend comes to your table and is like, hey, here's a job, you take the job. Like,
yeah, no, you do.
That's like, some people's, like, that's their bread and butter. Like, they will take the job.
Yeah, totally.
And it's sad because, like, I think this is a big action scene just because it's got so much emotion and there's so much behind it. This is a real conversation that a couple would have, especially one where they're in the arts.
Yep.
Because the arts are so loosey-goosey with how careers work. And that's not an offense on the arts, but, like, you don't have a stable 9-to-5 with most of these careers. You're following something where you're traveling, you have a contract for about 6 months, and then you have off season. Maybe you work on TV, but TV shows don't always come back. Like, it's iffy.
That scene, they have, like, the green light. This time, I don't really pay attention when I'm watching movies. I'm not sitting there, like, dissecting every scene, but every time they have a change in their relationship, someone's wearing green. There's a lot of green in this scene. It's the vertigo. It's like from Hitchcock's Vertigo, that green that's coming through the window, and it's practically sinister in that scene where it's like, you don't want this to happen, but it is happening to them, and you're just like, this is.
It's something that's interesting about the fight that they do right, and this is where the chemistry between Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone is important, is that a lot of times when you see these big blowout fights in movies, I'm thinking like Marriage Story and some of the other, Blue Valentine, a lot of times it's like you don't see any of the love they have for each other in those fights. And in this, you can tell, like, they don't want to hurt each other. They're not trying to hurt each other. They're just just on different pages. Yeah, on a reality check, and they're holding back to hurt each other, but at the same time, like, they want to express why they're disappointed in their partner's choices. Seb's reason to basically give up his dream, she's really disappointed, but he kind of takes it as an offense, like, I'm doing this for you, and it's like almost a miscommunication, but it's not, where he thinks he's doing what he's supposed to do for her, and she's mad that he's compromising his dreams for her. It's that levels there.
And that's why she respected him, is because he did love his dreams so much.
Yeah, they both did. That's why they were, they worked.
Yeah. I think it just shows that I've done this to people in real life where I'm, like, mad about something and I just say something that if I would have just taken an hour nap in between a pause, I would have, because I don't actually feel that way. People do that all the time.
Yeah.
Where he says something so mean and she goes, do you mean that? And or are you kidding? And he goes, no. I'm like, damn. These are all, like, such good examples. But yeah, I think another one I was thinking of just when, spoiler alert, if anyone's listening to this that hasn't seen La La Land, I don't know why you'd be listening to it, but yeah, when he says, when they're breaking up and he says, you need to go to Paris, because she's like, what are we gonna do? And he's like, well, you need to go. Like, he's like, no brainer, you have to do this. He's not even talking about him. Like, I think that just shows where he kind of in the beginning gives that like me attitude, but he even when they're like technically not together really, when the casting agent calls him at his house, and he drives to her parents' house and is like, I'm picking your ass up at 8 a.m. and you have to go. And I think that just shows that they truly really love each other.
He's her biggest supporter,
Yep.
like actively.
Yep.
And I just love it because you can tell that even though they're only in each other's lives for a blip, they have had such lasting effects on each other. The love is still there, and people that mean the world to you, even if it's just for a moment, will stay and have a lasting effect and will continue to be supportive even if it's from a distance. And I mean, it's just it's funny that he does that, but it's also so beautiful because it's like
beautiful,
very
yeah.
meaningful. I just love it. I love this movie.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. Yeah, when he doesn't say, well, I have to go on tour. She goes, what are we gonna do? And he's like, well, you need to go. Like, you have to do this. And I don't.
You will be getting it. You are going.
I don't think she wouldn't have done it without him. You know.
Yeah, no, without that push.
That scene at the bench where
Yeah,
they're just sitting there. I think that's like the only like melancholy scene in this movie where the ending's bittersweet, but like that scene right there is like, that's the real ending for the movie, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it definitely is. Speaking of the ending, do you want to hear my scene?
Yeah, I was gonna say Zach.
Hit me with the juice, Zach.
It does feel like I'm cheating a little bit by picking it, but the montage at the end, where the epilogue where Mia does walk into Seb's and Ryan Gosling is there and he starts playing, basically their song on the piano, the song he always plays when he's thinking of her, and it does the whole montage of the relationship, and then it keeps even going in even further. Show what would have happened if they did stay together, and you show her have a kid, all that stuff. It's like the emotional catharsis for both character, and really kind of drives in the knife of what if of their relationship, to where it's like they both understand that this couldn't have happened because one of them would have had to given up their dreams to make this happen, but it just drives in the knife of, hey, you could have had this and you decided to go after your dream instead, so just know this is it. And they both kind of can nod at each other and say, okay, we had a good time, but I think we're happy where we're at, maybe.
But let me ask this. So this is for Catie and Kat, both y'all. If this scene happened, and then when they get to the door, when she's at the door, if she ran back to him and they kissed and they ended up together at the end of the movie, would that have been...
It's cheap. It would have cheapened the whole thing.
It would have been bad. It would have been bad.
Bad is like a good word.
I would have liked it when I watched it at 18, but as a mid-20s woman who's seen this movie several times and understands the through line, it's more meaningful.
Let me pose that question better, because I saw on your letterbox you saw The Graduate recently, right? Mm-hmm. If this movie ended like The Graduate instead, would it still be a good movie?
Like, literally no. As I was saying earlier, like, I swear when people end up together in like a forceful, corny way, I'm like, that's why like my favorite kids movie is Frozen, because I just don't, I'm like, I don't know, maybe it's just an era of my life, but I'm like, I don't want to, like, I want to be a little surprised and I want there to be some meaning for it, which is exactly what La La Land does.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the actual whole point of the movie is like following your dreams and what you need to give up. And yeah, and they gave up each other.
Oh yeah, they did. And it's like the epilogue, I don't think they would have been that happy in real life.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I think Damien Chazelle doesn't think that two driven people can be together, honestly, from what I've seen from his movies.
That's a good point.
Interesting.
The epilogue, it's supposed to show the idyllic what if kind of scenario, but I'm the one that pointed it out to Zachary last night. Let me make that clear. I'm taking claim of it. I'm the one that said, Zach, if they had followed Mia's dreams like they did in the epilogue, Seb wouldn't have been able to follow his. And he's like, oh my God, you're right. I'm like, yeah, sometime in the last few years, between rewatches, I realized that for both of them to achieve their dreams, they couldn't be together. We see them follow Mia's dreams in the epilogue, but if they had done the reverse and they had tried to follow Seb's, it would have followed through with the same kind of loss. And it's not that they wouldn't have had a happy life together. Like, I'm sure it would have been a beautiful life that they would have loved and not regretted. But the point of this movie is to be a dreamer and to follow your heart and to achieve your dreams. And the epilogue enforces that and says, please do it. You could have a happy life if you don't, but you could also have a happy life if you do.
Mm-hmm.
I had the epilogue down before I had the argument, but I knew Zach would probably have the epilogue.
You kind of just made Damien Chazelle's case for a lot of his movies, to be honest.
I know.
Yeah.
What can I say? I'm really good at my job. Pay me. Increase my pay. 10%.
10% of 0.
Hey, you know what? That's
Vikash,
the joke.
What was your scene?
Yeah, I'm surprised none of y'all went for a musical scene.
You're
Like,
right.
Am I the only one? Am I corny? I put Lovely Night as mine because that's the one where it's like everything, like it's not the production value one, which I will get into, but the action is the juice one, is the Lovely Night one, where it's like they're finally like the back and forth between them together is finally in song. And
Yeah.
that was their one shot to have like their singing in the rain classic one, and they murdered
Yeah,
it.
they did a great job.
Mm-hmm. It was beautifully done.
Kat, do you know how they shot that?
I assume you're gonna tell me something I don't know.
So they had 4 takes to get that done, and it's like they had 27 marks with the camera that they had to hit. Not that you need to know that, but they had 10 minutes or like 2 increments of 10 minutes, 7:20 and 7:30 to shoot a 6-minute like shot. And they did it within 2 days. We see the 4th shot, the last one that they did in the movie. And it's a testament to like everyone working on the movie, and then Ryan and Emma to like just be athletes for, 30 minutes doing that, like rehearsing and then having to actually do all that and
Yeah.
landing their marks. And the sky is real. All that stuff is real. It's a real place that they did it at.
Really?
And
Put
yeah,
that on
Yeah.
the list. That's where I want to go.
we got to check it off when we go to LA. But it's like that scene is just everything to me. It's the one classic kind of like musical scene that they have in the movie.
Yep.
And it's kind of it's the flirting.
Yeah, it's so
works.
good.
It's beautiful. I love it. Very old school.
I think it's the only time we get to see like a physical chemistry between Ryan and Emma throughout like all the movies. Besides like, have you like Crazy Stupid Love, like when he like lifts her up. Besides that,
I love Crazy Stupid
Me
Love.
too.
Let's not talk about that movie. We're doing an
Yeah.
episode
coming on
that
the podcast
eventually.
soon.
Yeah, I will
we have
put
to.
it on the
That'll
list.
add 3 hours.
So the musical scene that I had written down was the observatory.
Oh, yeah.
I love that one.
It's just
Yeah.
so whimsical,
Yeah. It
and that
is.
is the beginning of their love, like in a musical form, not just the snarky, flirty one, but like it ends in a kiss kind of deal. So whimsical.
I like the flirting more. I don't
No,
know what
I
else
hear
to
you.
say.
I hear you
It
both.
works
Listen, I read romance books, fantasy romance. That is the kind of thing I follow. The
better.
flirting.
Okay, Miss Sarah J. Maas Akatar.
Yeah. All of it right here.
So, production value. What is the scene in this movie or aspect of this movie where everything was left on screen, nothing is left off? It is just screaming production value to you. What is that scene for you, Kat?
I love Someone in the Crowd. Like, that's a musical scene that I'm thinking of. That's, like, probably my favorite number on the soundtrack. But I just think it's perfect. The entire, like, I'll watch, it's like a comfort, like, YouTube video. I'll just watch it. I'll look it up on YouTube and watch it. I just think the shot where it goes, like, I know they go up to the palm trees and they go back down when the 4 girls are on the street. They show their LA house, which I'm sorry, but that is a rich person's LA house in my opinion, and they're all like
So
struggling
Broadway
I would
vibe.
love to live in
But
that
whatever.
house.
Very
We're
much
gonna move on
like
from
a
that.
Broadway set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's mine too. Like I really love that one. And
It's
all that
well
so
done.
it's literally a guy on a steady cam doing the shot, that whole shot of like them going up and then like, looking down at them. The colors of their dresses, the editing, all of it is so
Yeah, the
good.
colors I think are so intentional there, you can tell. Literally
100%.
amazing. And
By the time Emma's in the bathroom singing, come
yeah,
on.
and even just where everyone she's like so excited. I think it just shows like what I can only imagine. I've never tried to pursue acting in LA, but I can only imagine what it's like. Nepo baby cultures among
To
us. It's
feel
probably so hard to
that.
get noticed just in general. And I like how it shows
Yep.
her friends are hyping her up and she's so excited. And then she goes, and then there's the part where she's out by the pool at the house party and everyone's in still and she's walking through and where she's kind of like, yeah, I was right. I shouldn't have come. And where like her negative thoughts have like kind of come true. That like, yeah, this was another waste, not getting noticed. My dream's still not coming true. Why did I put on this blue dress and come to this thing? I think that's really shown
That dress
by
was really
everyone
blue.
being still. And I got-
Yeah. I love that they do that slow-mo and then the dude jumps into the pool and then it's just the party. I love when I see stuff like that. That's completely like people just standing still until it like
that's movie magic. That was cinematic magic.
Beautifully done. But I want to say the lyrics are on point for that song for describing the whole point of the movie.
Yeah.
Mia is discovered by someone in the crowd of her one-woman show and she almost didn't go to the audition. She almost stayed home. And she had to be convinced by another person to go. And it's just very on the nose. But also that is the actress-actor pipeline story of you're gonna go, you're gonna like miss out on several just because of other people being better. You might have a bad day. You might not want to go to an audition. You're not going to get the first one that pops up, and it's going to eat away at your soul, and you're going to feel this kind of loss. But you can achieve your dream if you try.
I think it's Matt Damon who was like, every time I went out for a role, it was always this like kid named Leo that was always beating me out for the role. Like Leonardo DiCaprio.
What an asshole.
Like, yeah, I know, I was like, I don't think he's that good of an actor, maybe. I mean, maybe he needs like an Oscar.
Yeah, it is funny how she walks in, there's all the redheads that look just like her.
Yeah, like anytime there's a movie where there's a scene of them going to audition for something, there's always has to be a scene where they walk out and there's like 50 people who look just like them. It's just like a trope almost, but it's always hilarious when they do that.
What it is. That's what it's like.
They even went to the point to just show like, not only Emma Stone's beautiful, but they're always like, they're taller than her, or they're like, maybe a little bit longer hair than her. They tried to make them seem like not only her, but like basically better versions of her.
More, like,
mature versions of her. Yeah.
Not to be nerdy, but in the script, he literally wrote the line. He said, "Their legs go up to their lungs, like they're like, and they look like infinitely more beautiful or something like that." And it's
Amazons.
like Amazons.
And at that point, it's almost like her point of view, where it's like she's looking around and is like, "I'm not good enough because all these people are more beautiful and talented than me." It's almost like a point of view thing.
And she talks about it when she tells Sebastian she's not going to that. She's like, "They're always prettier than me, and maybe I'm not good enough." Yeah, when he shows up at her parents' house.
We're gonna get into it, but it's like Emma is just amazing in this movie.
She's so good.
She really is.
Yeah, Zach, hit me with your production value.
Yeah, so the only thing I really wanted to focus on was just the Technicolor aspect. It really feels like an old Technicolor movie, like a Wizard of Oz, The color is such a good homage to the old Hollywood musicals that it's deployed with a lot of thought. It's one of the most vibrant movies that I've ever seen. Chazelle deploys the color in each scene to make the movie feel like larger than life. And I think that's good for a movie like this because the musicals are larger than life. There's no such thing as a grounded musical. I mean, musicals are supposed to be life on steroids or whatever, So the fact that the color pops like it does is just a key part of the movie. And I love their decision to do that.
And it's a production design thing too, production and costumes.
Mm-hmm.
It's so well done. I mean, literally, look at the picture behind you.
Oh yeah, I do. I have a little watercolor of it. It's just a print of the watercolor.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome.
Listeners at home, I'm sure can see this.
I have the IMDb open. It has the yellow dress with a purple background and complementary colors. They're opposites on the color wheel. It makes it pop. And that's what you go for with musicals. You look at any costume and set design, that's what they're going for. Because they can only do so much because especially with a traditional Broadway thing, you can't put that much stuff on the stage. You have to be able to move it in 10 seconds when you close the curtain. So color is where musicals live.
Yeah.
But I mean, okay, I have a whole complaint. Why don't movies have more color nowadays? That's a whole thing too.
That's true.
People are so lazy with color. Let's add color to everything.
There was a huge gray and brown trend of just let's make things dark and gloomy and
sounds
ugly
like a 2000s home
and realistic,
millennial gray or whatever.
Indiana Jones 5.
Yeah,
cough, cough.
I mean, a ton of movies, and I don't even want to think of all of them, and I don't want to blame it on CGI or anything, but as things got more realistic through using graphics, it seemed like they also made the colors more realistic, and in that effect, it kind of took away some of the magic of what these big colors really do for a movie.
Yeah.
And it's shooting digital.
Yeah, that's a good point. Digital captures colors a bit differently too.
Yeah.
I also wanted to add that opening scene because that opening scene just technically is so complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Another Day in the Sun. They had to close the highway for that scene.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't the director talk about that when we went to Film Fest?
Yeah, he did. I don't know if y'all are Speed fans, but that's the same little parkway that they jumped the bus over on Speed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
But they literally cut it out of the movie. Like when they're testing the movie, people are like, why are you starting with this? This isn't good. So they cut it out of the movie multiple times while they were testing the movie. And I'm happy that it's in there because like I said before, like when we saw it in the theater, amazing opening. People were applauding so hard.
Yeah.
Like we were in for a ride.
I totally told Katie this last night when we were watching it. I was like, this is my least favorite part of the movie and I love it.
And that's great.
Like it's really good. It sets the tone and it has but I would probably skip it to go so I can be with, Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. I would just skip it to go be with them.
Exactly.
But it's still an awesome scene and I love it. That's how good the movie is. It's my least favorite scene. It's still an amazing scene.
Yeah, it's growing on me. The first time I watched it, I was like, eh.
Yeah, right. It's kind of like, what's the?
It doesn't have the characters.
It's like, what's the point of this? It feels a little almost too happy. Yeah, right. It's great for the movie.
So before the part where we see them sitting in their cars, that was supposed to happen first, and then it turns over, the camera goes over, and then they have the number, and then we come back to them flipping each other off, but they kind of just jumbled it around. It's just editing. That's all it is. It's just really good editing.
It kind of works a little better this way, but I just love that this isn't the only number that's clearly very technically complicated, but it's one where it has real world complications too, not just like on a set. Like this is a highway they had to, like a parkway they had to close off, and they had to coordinate so many people.
And it was like 107 degrees or something.
Yeah, it was hot as shit. There were people sitting in the back of a truck, like waiting to play in the band. It's just so many moving parts. I just love it. The choreography is fantastic for it. I'm just so impressed.
Yeah, that's something that I look back and I'm like, slap myself. Why did I not appreciate this at first? But now it's amazing. And I just love it the more I watch it.
Nah, but when the title card landing is probably, I think it's the best one out of all of his movies.
Oh.
I think it is.
Yeah, I would say so.
Well, wait. When did the Babylon title card come up?
If you could remember, then it's good. If you can't.
I think when
and
Margot Robbie,
that's fair.
Like runs out of the party.
Yeah,
and
I think
she's,
that
like,
was a good one.
I was gonna say, I think it's after that.
That was a good one too. I couldn't for half a second. I was like, did he put the title card after the elephant just like shits on the people? I was like, no, he didn't do that. That would have been my favorite.
I would do that. I'm a shit poster. That's the kind of thing I would do.
Anyways, we're gonna have to
really
do a Babylon pod at some point because I'm trying to hold back from talking about it during this podcast.
Honestly, same.
On to dialogues. What piece of dialogues, whether it's something funny, whether it's dramatic, whatever in between, Kat, what's some dialogue that affected you?
I mentioned it earlier and I said I was going to bring it up. Just where they're in the fight when Sebastian gets in and he surprises Mia mid-tour and then he says something very vile. Like, you liked it when I was sitting on my ass and made you feel better about yourself. And she just looks at him. And I think that's where she earned that Oscar more than any sing and dance because she just says, "Are you kidding?" And he goes, "No," immediately. And that's what I was talking about earlier where, you just say things you don't mean sometimes. And as we know, they cared about each other and he didn't that. It just shows how nasty they could get, but they did really care about each other. But yeah, I think that part like hit me really hard.
It's such a realistic line that's like true insecurity. Like, it's not that that's an insecurity that's invalid or something that isn't sitting in the back of someone's mind, but the fact that they feel like it's real to the point where they're concerned that it's real, and in a fight they mention it because that's the only time you have the gas to drop it. Like, no one's gonna sit there and look at their partner and say, "Hey, did you like it better when I was sitting around because it made you feel better about yourself?" Like, no. The only time you're gonna have the energy to fire that question, because that's a really hard question to face, is when you're in the middle of a fight. It's just so real. It's so sad. It's so realistic too. Like, that is the kind of shit that, like, I would say. Like, I get it.
Damn. Good to know.
Zach, do you want me to sit on my ass all day?
No, I'd rather not. And I wouldn't want to do that either. No,
Bro, why don't you treat your wife better?
So
yeah, Zach, why don't you love me right?
I guess.
Why don't you have that me and Sebastian love?
Well, that's what I was just trying to think. Like, there's no indication in the movie either, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Kat, that like she does like him sitting on his ass, and there's no point where he's. I mean, it just like you said, it feels like something that someone just brings up in a fight just to try to like get the fight back into their favor. But really there's no text in the movie that says like, yeah, she really does like it when he's down because she can take care of him. She was a barista. He says that, oh, you're judging me up from high on your hill as a barista. He says that when they meet each other at the party earlier on. It's like they're not higher than each other at all.
The way he says barista,
Yeah.
it just makes me laugh
You're
every
a barista.
time.
I can see how you can look down on me or whatever. But
Yeah.
he
Did you see this man put on them sunglasses when they were first meeting at that pool party? He threw those sunglasses on, and I told Zach, I'm like, that's where they
Seen
got
in
the
the
Ken
movies.
sunglasses move. 100%. Greta said, you gotta do it again.
So good. I wonder. I always think about those things. But yeah, he even said no to Keith at first, and she made him say yes. So yeah, there's nothing that would indicate that she feels that way. It's obviously just he let his emotions get away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just kind of the part of the dialogue where really I think I'm like, oh, this might not work out for everybody in their relationship. And it took a tone shift in the movie, but I do love that because it's real. I don't want to watch a movie that's like happy-go-lucky where they sing and dance and end up together no matter what. I don't want that. So
I just remembered A Star Is Born. Like, I think this movie and A Star Is Born kind of have the same structure. He's like, the first half is like really fun, and then the back half just hits you in the stomach.
See,
Star is Born is so much more depressing.
yeah, Star is Born
And
is
it's
a lot
not
more
like a
depressing.
bad burn, but it's
Yeah.
so sad.
yeah, they don't
It's
end up
so
together, but
sad.
it's not because they both go on to do great things.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
We're
I don't
not
wanna
talking
s-
about
I
that
don't
movie.
wanna
I'm not
spoil
crying
it.
on
we're
the
not
pod
gonna
for
talk
that
about
shit.
that
It's
belt.
not.
Mama
Yeah.
Monster ain't making me cry tonight.
Okay,
I'm
Katie,
here.
hit us with your dialogues.
Okay, I'm gonna give a couple. One's a funny one, the other are actually meaningful. So I'll give you the funny one. When Seb is bickering with his sister when she comes to visit at first.
The Phoenix.
I am a phoenix rising from the ashes.
Ryan Gosling
I
is
love
one of
this
the
man.
funniest humans
He
on
really
earth,
is.
and they do not
and you
give
can
his
see it.
like,
He's a
now
national
with
treasure. I love
but
that man.
He's
Oh,
always
yeah.
been that way.
Ken, the nice guys.
The Nice Guys is hilarious.
When
but yeah.
he goes to pick up Mia from her house back in Boulder City, she goes, "How did you find me here?" And he points and he says, "House in front of the library." Homie listened. He listened to his girl. It's a bare minimum, but like when someone talks about their childhood and their life and their stories, there's so much to learn in such a short time. But he remembered where in the city she lived because it was so meaningful to her that she lived next to the library. I just thought that was really cute. And then I got the essay draft one, right?
Hey,
I got an essay draft kind of
Wait, what?
quote here where there's like content.
Oh, okay,
So when they both agree to go follow their dreams when they're doing the actual real breakup on the bench, they go, "I'm always going to love you." And they say, "I'm always going to love you too." And like they do. Because people are so meaningful in your life, and just because it's the right person, wrong time, different paths, you can only stay in for a blip. It doesn't mean that the love isn't valid. And it's so sweet, and it didn't make me cry because I've grown up past that. But man, I was dying in the theater at 18, bro.
I don't think I've ever cried at this movie. I've started crying a lot during movies.
Yeah,
but this
you
one
cry over
still
every
hasn't
fucking
gotten
movie,
there.
dude. How do you not cry over La La Land? I cry over Fast and
wait.
Furious, but I don't cry over La La Land. Fucker.
Yeah, this man be like, I just saw Fast and Furious 10. I was crying. And I'm like, you're not crying over La La Land, though?
7. It's 7, okay? Don't say 10. Don't make me sound stupid. But this movie, I'm talking about, like, Kat, after we saw this movie, it was like 3 or 4 months till we could rewatch it, and we didn't have any of the songs. I literally could show you my, like, lab book from, like, anatomy, where I'm, like, literally writing.
That's
That's
Sweet
so
baby
good.
tried to write-
Were you guys 18
But it's like,
when that
I was
came
in the
out?
feels.
I
You
was
guys
Wait,
were
what?
probably like 18,
They were
you said?
19 to 20.
Right? Okay. Okay,
20.
yeah, we're all
20.
similar age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or me and him are 96.
98.
Katie is
I'm a baby.
97.
98.
98. So
Yeah, 99.
you're the youngest person on the pod. Actually, Kat,
Crazy.
Yeah, congrats.
representing for
Okay.
Gen Z.
Yes.
Same.
Yeah, I'm kind of like on the cusp.
It
A
sucks.
zillennial.
Yeah,
but-
we're all cusps. Yeah, we're
I own it.
zillennials.
Yeah.
Zach, what's your dialogues?
Kind of realizing now I kind of blew my load earlier because this is kind of, I already brought this up. Phrasing? Okay.
Zachary.
Run that back. Run that
let me
back,
see.
sir.
Okay. I'm kind of realizing, I kind of already talked about this earlier, so I'm just going to kind of give half the spiel, so I don't do it again. But my favorite dialogue in this movie is where Ryan Gosling tells Emma Stone, says, hey, this is the dream. It's conflict and it's compromise, and it's very exciting. I already said it all, but the key word there, conflict and compromise, which he says twice in the movie, once when he's talking about Jazz, and then later when he's trying to convince her to go do that audition, is really the key to unlocking what this movie is about. The conflict and compromise that people make in their lives when it comes to their dreams and who they want to be with and how they want their life to be. So I really, really like that piece of dialogue.
Oh, yeah.
No, you're right. It's effective.
Absolutely.
It's effective.
I don't like when directors will just tell you what the movie's about. Katie can tell you, that pisses me off more, like to no end. But I do like when they leave like a key in there. Like, here, I'm gonna leave this dialogue in here so you can unlock the movie, and I'm not gonna tell you what the movie's about, but it's there. And I mean, I guess that's what writing is, that tells you what it's about. But I like it, and that's what he does here. He mentions that phrase twice, and that's the key to the movie, and I like that.
So Katie already hit one of mine.
Yeah.
I kind of just went with the lines that I really loved. And the first one was, I am a phoenix rising from the ashes. It sounds so bad on paper, but Ryan saying it is amazing.
So true. He's hilarious. People are surprised he was funny in Barbie. I'm like, be for real.
That's like
We'll
his
touch
whole
on that
career's
later.
built on that. Yeah.
And then the next line is, it's LA. LA worships everything, but values nothing. And that's actually not a line from the script. Eva Mendes said that as a joke to Ryan, and he just put it in the movie.
I didn't know that. I love that.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
like one of the more iconic lines from this movie.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And the other line that pisses me off every time I see it, every time I hear it, is when the writer at the party, when they're playing Iran, when he says like, "Oh, I've got a knack for world building." It pisses me off every time. It's good because it's so bad. Like, I hate the guy.
Yeah.
It's making fun of
He
writers.
kinda, He's kind of insufferable in the beginning, and then you're like, I love him. I want him. Like,
Kat, the guy in real life is a writer, and he just wrote Argyle.
Wait, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about the writer at the party, where he,
Okay, so you know how she's at the party, it's at night, she needs to go get her car, and she asks Ryan Gosling to go get her keys. The guy that's talking to her is this annoying writer guy who also talks to her earlier at the party and is like a couple times trying to get with her.
Can you find my keys? And he's like, what do you drive? A Prius? He goes, that doesn't help. It's his like, yeah.
Good joke.
Oh, that guy, he's a real writer. I feel like I did see that on Twitter or something.
Like, because I just looked it up because I was looking up people, and I saw it said, "Oh, writer for Argyle." I was like, "This."
I
man
saw
right
Argyle
here.
on Tuesday.
How was it?
Listen, actually, the first half, I was like, why do people hate this? And the second half, listen, I think to this writer, I assume his process was he wanted to put a plot twist in there. He wrote 8 different versions down and said, I can't pick. I'm going to put them all in. And it didn't work out because everyone in the theater, like the first half, everyone was like laughing. Like I genuinely was like laughing. It was good. And then the second half, everyone literally was like going like this. What? So, he must be an indecisive man, whoever he is, because couldn't decide on a plot twist, threw them all in. And I was so confused. At some point, I look at my friend, I go, what? I was like, huh? Like, so anyway, that's interesting. I didn't know that, but I feel like that happens a lot. I love hearing little things like that where they incorporate like real people.
Yeah, the stunt casting.
Not to bring up another movie again, but I just watched Aaron Brockovich for the first time, and like Aaron Brockovich is actually just that happens all the time.
When they do that,
little things like that. I love that. Yeah, you know what? Even I hate Jordan Belfort, but he does appear in Wolf of Wall Street. I just like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Any other dialogue?
We covered a good bit.
I think we're good.
I think we read the script, so I think we're good.
I mean, next time I will pull out the script.
It's too iconic.
Yeah.
No, they have a great script for this one.
It's beautifully done.
Alrighty, on to the Layla. The best needle drop or song in this movie. It's kind of a crazy thing to ask for a musical, especially this movie, especially La La Land. Kat, what is your favorite needle drop in this movie? What is the Layla for you?
I kind of give a non-answer answer. It's kind of vague, but I think I just wanted to bring up my appreciation for how this movie is kind of broken up into seasons. The relationship and the timeline takes place over the course of a year. and like their seasons physically, and the seasons are shown through how the relationship is thriving, and then it just goes through different phases like it does normal relationship. There's getting to know each other, honeymoon phase, conflict, and then what's gonna happen, and that's shown through the seasons, and then also the cinematography through the seasons, but most of all the music during the seasons and how that plays in with their relationship. I know I think it's the song labeled, or it's a song called Engagement Party is
Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking about.
Yeah, just each song shows the season of their relationship, not only the spring, summer, fall, winter that the movie goes through and shows the titles of each season on the screen, but you can like feel it in the music there. It gets a little bleaker as the movie goes on. The music's not as bright and happy, and yeah.
And it's like he uses the same theme, but it's like the reprisal of the theme, like what it is an Engagement Party is a bit more somber. That, and I understand.
Yeah, I think Engagement Party is like my biggest...
I didn't even think about it that way, but
yeah, Engagement Party.
Oh yeah, no, I've listened to it so many times.
I don't listen to Engagement Party when
Habit
I'm going
is like the least one. Yeah.
So yeah, that's just the seasons. That's kind of a non-answer, but
Yeah,
I wrote down what came to
that's
mind.
the kind of answer I give all the time.
Yeah, my answers are never straightforward.
No, that's a great
They're
answer,
always me
honestly.
going on some kind of tangent about something else that may or may not have been asked about. But yeah, I think just I love the...
That's our lives. That's our lives.
Yes, I love the kind of 4-part summer, fall, winter, spring setup they have in La La Land.
Catie, hit us with your needle drop. What is it?
It's the epilogue, because it's a very iconic musical trope to have the final song or the most climactic song of the musical and production to include a little bit of every score, and it combines all the elements that you've seen throughout the story, and it kind of repraise it all. And you see that here in epilogue. And it's used in a different format where you're seeing kind of an alternate timeline, but you're getting each and every little song, you're getting a little verse each, and it's so beautifully crafted, and the fact that it feeds into that musical trope, and we keep hearing Mia and Sebastian's theme throughout the whole film, and then it comes to this epilogue, and it combines here. It's just so wonderfully done. It's a musical. It's great.
Justin Hurwitz,
Yeah,
man.
I love
I
that.
can't listen to, like, anytime.
He
Like,
did a
I
great
catch
job.
a straight bullet every time, like, on my Spotify
Yeah.
when epilogue comes up, and I just hear the little chord he starts playing. I'm just like, nope,
Skip
skip.
it.
I don't need this, like, I don't need this harm today.
Yeah.
What? No, I listened to it today.
I mean,
also-
yeah, like, we're listening to it today because I saw the movie, but, like, if I'm not feeling well in my mind, I
No,
don't want to
you.
hear it.
Let's
That's
play
fair.
someone in the crowd and move on. I get you.
I like
Someone in the crowd. That's my
too.
favorite.
we liked City of Stars so much
Mhm.
that it was one of our final contenders for our first dance song for our wedding.
That's
And
insane.
instead we went with Can't Take My Eyes Off of You and went with more of an old school traditional classic song. But City of Stars was so close that like during my bridal shower weekend when my family came in town and we got like a nice dinner, we went to the Pink House in Savannah. Great dinner, very expensive. There was a live pianist there and my mom went up and requested City of Stars because that was going to be my first dance song. It was between that and Can't Take My Eyes Off of You.
And they knew it? The pianist knew
Yeah,
it?
they either had the music available or found it or knew it.
Yeah,
like,
sure, you can just
it was
Google
great.
That's awesome. I also
Oh, yeah,
think that
easy. But
La La
yeah.
Land's going to become such a classic. That might be your daughter's request for her.
Kind of deal, yeah.
First song.
I'll tell you what,
One could
talking about it being a classic, still when I'm at like Barnes and Nobles or Target, I'll still hear them playing that as like the background music when you're walking around the store.
Yeah.
Still, like, and this movie's a lot kind of old now. I mean, not old, but it's like, you know,
It's 8 years
8
old.
years old. Yeah.
my God,
they're
it
still
is?
playing it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
8 years?
Yeah, and they're still playing it at
8
stores and
years,
stuff. That's how you know it's a
2016.
good score. Like a, you know.
Dang, it's been a long 8 years. It's been a short 8 years. Put it that way.
Wait, that's insane.
So, for mine, so with needle drops, it's usually supposed to be like a song, but to be honest, this is a musical, so what are you going to do? I just decided to use this category to just talk about my favorite song in the movie, which I remember when the movie came out, me and Vikash would fight a lot about what the best song in the movie was. I think the best
This
song...
man's about to say audition.
It is. I think the best song's Audition.
Yeah.
I sincerely think that song, that Emma, the way that she's able to deliver it, it's the climax of Mia's journey where she's finally breaking through the industry and achieving her dreams while kind of starting to leave Seb behind. And I think that her performance to where they just have the camera centered on her, they have just a black background and the camera moves a little left and right, but it never leaves her. Or maybe it circles around her. that circles around her. That's what it
does.
does. But just like that's the ballsiest part of the whole movie, because every other part of the movie is a set piece, and you can at least like move the actors around. You can do a lot of stuff visually, but in this one, she's just standing there and she's having to sing this and show all the emotion in a close up, and there's nothing to hide, nowhere to hide her performance, her voice, her facial expressions. There's nowhere to hide it. It's all laid bare, and she delivers this song that's so powerful about her aunt and her experiences and how it informed her experience to like want to take a chance and be an actress. And yeah, that's my Layla. I really love that song.
And she did it live.
And Zach wanted that to be the first dance song as well. Like, I told him no, City of Stars, because City of Stars is more of a romantic song than Audition.
I admit now it would have made less sense.
Correct. It's okay, we didn't go with the movie song, which is really funny because we went with Phantom Thread stuff for a lot of weddings.
Phantom Thread.
We one of the
we just did it on the
one
podcast.
of our readings.
We just did it.
We had someone read a part of Phantom Thread for one of our readings for a wedding, and no one there had seen Phantom Thread except for us three. So at my own wedding, it was like a joke base. We put it in as like an inside joke. It's like the passage about how she'll never leave Reynolds. She'll see him in the afterlife even, and we put that in there because it sounds sweet on the surface until she's poisoning them. So we're just cracking up laughing, as these people are reading.
The bridegroom and best
man are all
wedding.
cracking up while they're doing this very serious reading for the audience. Anyways,
side note.
Tangent.
Right? With mine.
Yeah, go ahead, Vikash.
Give us yours.
Mine, I went basic. I did have epilogue on mine because it's everything put into one, but it is Mia and Sebastian's theme. Like anytime I hear that, I'm transported back to this movie.
Yeah, that's the right answer.
Sometimes I even whistle it.
Yeah.
And it's like that piece always lives with me.
Yeah.
That's the one that I'm always coming back to. And it's simple, it's elegant, and it's just amazing. I didn't I listened to the commentary once, and Justin Hurwitz was like, "Oh yeah, I had 1900 variations till I found this one."
What
I'm like,
shit?
1900? He's the
like,
goat.
bro, but he was cooking.
Yes.
He was cooking.
This really feels like something that, and they talked about how they had this script before even the Whiplash script. They worked on this the longest, but you can really tell in the music, this is like Justin Hurwitz giving everything that he's ever had. Every artistic thought he's ever had about music is all going into his energy to make this movie's score and theme. And it really pays off. Every single song in this movie is iconic and very thoughtful in how it's deployed.
Yeah,
he didn't get enough credit for his Babylon or First Man too.
No, he didn't.
Those were fire
Absolutely. Yeah, him not getting Babylon losing Best Picture, etc., Margot Robbie, etc., Diego Calva. And then I was like, okay, Justin Hurwitz will get something though. And then he didn't, and I'm like,
they did him dirty.
Score that year?
They did him dirty.
Who got score?
oh, I could look it
We'll
up.
talk about it on the Babylon.
Okay, they almost never give the score to the right person anyways. That's just,
they don't. They did this time though. So, Kat, you know who should have been in this role? Come on, guys, let's recast a role. Kat, who would you like to recast in this movie?
So because I think this movie is a 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5 star, beautiful, amazing, 100%, I'd say nobody. But listen, I just saw American Fiction. I just rewatched Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and my favorite episode is the one where Sterling K. Brown
The box, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, that episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine where Sterling K. Brown is?
Yep.
Yes.
Fantastic
That's literally my favorite episode, just because I remember the first time I watched it, that show's not sit on the edge of your seat type of show, but I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is juicy. And I just love him right now. And I was seeing a lot of people online saying that that's like their last pick for Best Actor. That's literally my close second pick for the Best Supporting Actor nomination this year, right after I want Robert Downey Jr. That's probably the most basic take of the year, but he's like a close second. I love him right now. And
who would you put him in the movie for?
Oh, okay, so I do love John Legend. Nothing against John Legend. There's really nothing against him. But as you guys were mentioning Keith earlier, and how Sebastian says no to Keith about joining the band. He's like, we need some keys. He's like, no. And then he hates Keith, and like he apparently fucked him over. But like, I'm not. I also think La La Land's perfect. That's too much to get into. But what happened with them? Give me a little short film on it. And you could cast Sterling K. Brown. I love John Legend because I love the voice. I don't even listen to his music that much, but that's the only reality. Is that reality show? That's the only reality TV I watch. But I just think I'm picturing like if they could have had like started off maybe with like Sterling K. Brown playing Keith, and like I don't know. He would have been so good because nothing against John Legend. I don't want to actually change anything about the movie. Like, could you picture like a powerful actor like that playing Keith, and you got to hear like a little shred more of their background, Keith and Sebastian?
Sterling K is so good. He's very charismatic, but if he needs to hit you in the ribs real quick, he can do it, and he can still be nice about it. And that's what Keith is, right? And
I think
that's a great recast.
Yeah,
I would have
that's a good
loved
recast.
to see him in this.
Oh, thanks.
And I think in his career at that point, it would have been a good role too.
Yes, I think he's so amazing. And again, I do like how La La Land just keeps it to the story to like Sebastian and Mia. You don't learn about a lot of other people. They're both so interesting. And their story's so interesting. So it's fine. Again, like, no, I'm not saying La La Land should have been anything because it should have been what it is. It's amazing. But if another universe, if we could tweak it and still make it amazing, it would have been amazing to have someone powerful like that in his Keith and see a little more about him.
Yeah.
No, I love it.
So anyway.
I don't have a recast, sorry.
And that's so
don't have a
valid.
recast?
That's nothing. Yeah.
No.
I'm like reaching. I was just thinking and I'm like, I just saw American Fiction. I love Sterling K. Brown. And then I do wonder.
I'm literally watching it tomorrow night.
Oh, have you not seen it yet?
I haven't seen it yet, but I've been a fan of Sterling's since this show that I really love. It's called Purse of Interest.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a dad show.
He's
but
in a mom show too.
he's
This
in
is
it.
us. That's a mom show.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
fantastic in This Is Us.
He's in a Zach show, Crime Story, American Crime Story.
Oh yeah. He's in that too. He's fire. One of our best actors. He doesn't get any credit,
Literally.
but I'm so glad he got nominated. I'm like that and Coleman Domingo. I was so
Oh,
glad he got
I haven't
nominated
seen the
this
film
year.
that he's in
And
yet
Ryan.
either. But yeah.
But he's cool dude. I mean, I don't know if you've seen Euphoria. He's
Yeah.
amazing
Oh
in
yeah, that's
Euphoria.
probably I don't know if I've even seen him in anything other than Euphoria. I've seen Euphoria, and he is great. in
Ali,
that.
just the best.
Yeah,
Imagine a
he's
Euphoria
amazing in that.
cast.
Oh,
Yo, low key, I did put Hunter in. She was the first person I put as
love Hunter.
Mia.
yeah, I
but
can see that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hunter
same.
Schafer, so good. I love
Just
him.
something random. One of my good friends from college, because I went to college in North Carolina, so there's a lot of North Carolina people. And one of my good friends is from Raleigh, and so grew up with Hunter Schafer, and said that when she was like, "Yeah, I'm moving, going to LA, I'm gonna pursue acting," they all like, no one was mean. Everyone was like, "Okay, like best of luck," but like, yeah, right. And then was like Euphoria came out, and they're like, "Okay, yeah," but he said everybody liked her, but they all were. I mean, even if I thought someone was talented, I think it's hard to not think like, "Oh, you're going to LA to pursue acting. Nice. Good luck."
Yeah.
That'll be really hard.
Yeah.
And then Euphoria, boom, couple years later. Golden.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to an arts high school, so it's like
Oh,
we have
nice.
a lot of we have a lot of people who did get into the industry. One of the Please Don't Destroy guys on SNL. That's my brother's like best friend.
Oh, the redhead?
so it's like
That's the
yeah.
non-nepo, so I assume.
yeah,
There
yeah,
you
no,
go.
like literally his dad's a doctor. Like, but like yeah, like Ben is like my brother's best friend from
That's
high school.
awesome.
So
Yeah, I think they're really good.
I'm always excited to see people win.
I'm critical of recent SNL because I grew up with SNL's. A lot of people say it's SNL's peak of like 2006, 2012.
We had the peak.
literal
Yes,
peak,
yes.
and
Andy Samberg,
I watch the
Sudeikis,
Weekend
Kristen
Update
Wiig.
every week. And
Bill
I live
Hader.
for it.
No, it was like pretty
Yeah.
peak, but
Bill Hader with the Hunger Games fucking SNL skits were top tier.
yeah, oh yeah. I'm pretty
Yeah.
happy with it this
I
year
miss
so
those
far, though.
days.
Actually, I feel like they're coming back.
I've really enjoyed it this year. They have a great
this
cast.
Year's this year's
They
getting
added some good people.
And I do like the
Mhm.
please don't destroy guys. It's like, and I liked how the Dakota Johnson one, they said they
Oh,
were
yeah.
roasting each
Oh,
other.
that was
Okay, the
pretty good.
Lonelier Island. I was like, yeah, they are. Because I remember when they
no,
started, I was
it
like,
was a good
okay, so
one.
this is Lonely Island, but Gen Z. I was
Yeah.
like, but yeah,
Yep.
but anyway, yeah, I don't even know how we got on this. Okay, Hunter Schafer. Who would you have Hunter Schafer?
Oh, I just had her as Mia. Or
Yeah, you do yours first.
Oh, did you do like a full recast? Because I just gave one.
He does sometimes. Just let him roll.
I didn't want to recast anybody. They are perfect, but I was just, for giggles. Because, I don't know if you know, but Emma Watson and Miles Teller were supposed to be in this movie.
have
I
that
did
written
know
down.
that.
And
Yep.
It
It
would
wouldn't
not
have
have
been
been the
good.
same.
I don't know how that would've worked.
It would have
Yeah.
been a flop. It wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, no, thank God. Sometimes things work out the way they're exactly supposed
Right.
to. I will say also, just thinking of this, this just shows how being a cinema television arts major, I was in college during COVID, so my spring junior year, and so we were doing a lot of things that had to do with like actually using the cameras, etc., and getting
Yeah.
together. But when everything was on Zoom, we were kind of given like projects that were just like, my teacher was like, one project we were given like list of shows, and we were like rewriting episodes and recasting like former sitcoms, etc.
That's actually pretty cool.
But as like an actual diverse cast, because like up until 5 years ago it was just white. So I think we did like Friends, and we like picked a diverse cast. And like I remember we did that for like, we picked like multiple sitcoms, and like just sitting around thinking, no, Kid Cudi would be a good Chandler Bing, or like whatever we were saying. And it was so much fun. So I just thought
I love that. That sounds fantastic.
It was such a fun little,
like a circle about that at some point.
Yeah, I love this question.
Yeah, no, that's why I like, even if I don't want to recast, I like doing it, because for this one I tried, like, if they made La La Land today, who would it be? So for Mia, my first choice was Victoria Pedretti. Have you, Kat, I don't know if you've seen You, or Hill House.
So I know her mostly from Hill House. I've seen the first season. Well, I know they're not all called Hill House, but there's like 3 seasons. The first one I think is literally perfect.
So attractive.
Agree. Yeah, no, she's literally perfect.
Oh god.
And I know her from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, she shows up in that.
Who is she in that?
She is just a Manson.
She's one of the girls.
Manson cult member.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I know.
That
Rewatch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for real.
I need to. Yeah.
Maya Hawke, Sydney Sweeney, Austin Butler, Victoria Pedretti, Margaret Qualley. They're all
Dakota
people that
Fanning.
like that literal year like had projects later in the year. Like Euphoria, Sydney Sweeney came out later that year. Like I swear, like they had. I always think about this. They must have had on their resume like, I just wrapped up filming Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with. Have ever heard of him? Quentin Tarantino, and whatever role they were like, yeah, come on. But they had like a minute or less, a lot of them. Like Victoria Pedretti's not in it that much, but that's when I first
I'm a fan of all of them. I love
But I've
them
seen
all.
a little of You. Like my roommate was watching it. I know I saw the ending to the one season. I didn't see the rest.
But it's like Hill House episode like 6, 7. She'll make you cry.
Bent neck lady.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Victoria Pedretti.
These two, they don't watch a lot of horror stuff, but like that show is
I'm picky with my horror, but I do. I love the comedic slasher. A lot of like things.
I don't
that
like
have to
it
do
gruesome
with,
and gross. I love Chucky, for example.
Yeah, a little like, okay, an example of like that's like, I just watched X and Pearl with my roommates, and like that's like perfect. If it's like that and it's horror, I'll watch it. The things that are like, oh, what is it? Okay, a lot of the Sam Raimi, like the Drag Me to Hell movie that came out last year.
Evil Dead.
That's one I skip. But when it's like fun slasher,
But I understand. I get what you mean.
I'm a little picky.
So I had her. I was thinking Rachel Ziegler also. She was in West Side Story.
Oh, yeah,
but
she
she's
would
a
be
bit
good.
young.
Yeah, she's a little young.
21, 22.
She just looks young.
Yeah.
Emma Stone was like, oh, she would have been like 20.
I think it was like late 20s.
Yeah, 27.
Well, who cares?
Yeah,
They would probably have Ariana Grande try to be in this movie if they made it now.
And the bad version.
They would.
Yeah.
Ma'am, we're getting off the podcast.
Wait, Ariana Grande?
No,
Wait,
Katie,
and
I put
the
my
kid
hand
from
up
Baby
because
Driver.
I'm like, ugh, but you're correct.
They would.
That is something they would do.
They
but
would.
I put my hand
I'm
up in an eye
looking at
roll.
the top artists right now, and they would have her because I feel like Billie could totally do it if she wanted, but it wouldn't
Billie
be her
Eilish?
vibe. Like, Billie Eilish. I feel like
Should
What
she-
about
should she
Olivia
act?
Rodrigo? That's who I put.
Olivia
I put Olivia
Rodrigo
I
would
could see
be
that.
actually
I could
does
see
this
that a
role
little
if we went younger, but she's too young still.
I didn't think about recasting
yeah.
Sebastian and Mia. Interesting.
I didn't.
Because they're perfect.
I
I
did think
know.
about it. I didn't like it.
I have a great recast for it if you guys want to hear it.
No, hit
So
us with
I'm
it.
also in the boat of like there's nothing I would really recast in this movie. But so I got to thinking, okay, so I was like, what I want to do. So what made Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone work well is their chemistry, because they did Crazy Stupid Love and Gangster Squad. So I wanted to recast them with two people who already had chemistry by working in previous movies. They also had to have some experience in movies where they had to sing as well. So with those in mind, I would recast Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone with Kirsten Stewart and Robert Pattinson.
That's hilarious. I'm so glad you said
I think
that.
that'd be awesome.
I would watch that.
I would watch it because
Hanson
it
can
would
sing.
turn in it. Oh, dude.
That is hilarious.
Kirsten Stewart sang in The Runaways and Into the Wild, and Robert Pattinson sang some of the songs on the Twilight soundtrack, so they can both sing. And they have chemistry. They bring baggage.
Wow.
And they're also very good actors. I'm sure they can make it work.
And they didn't work out in real life either, so it's just like
No.
so true. The only one I could literally think about recasting for Sebastian, and I did kind of think about it, and I I didn't say it, but now I'm gonna say it, is just because everyone's like, their real life La La Land is like Andrew Garfield is not mentioned.
That's what I was thinking about too. If I was
Yeah.
gonna do one, because that would,
And he can sing, and he's a good singer.
Oh, Tick Tick Boom.
yeah, he would crush.
I
it.
wanted him
Yeah.
to
So
get
good.
the Oscar that year so fucking bad. I'm sorry, but King Richard's just very
Deservedly.
forgettable. I already forgot about
Which
it.
year?
Yeah.
Which year? Wait, which?
I forgot that existed. Yeah.
2021.
Who won that one?
Will Smith won over Tick Tick Boom.
Oh, yeah, that was.
He went
yeah.
like
I
this
forgot
and
about
then
King
went like
Richard.
this to grab his award. So,
But
Yeah.
it's like he had it down.
but I could go on and on. I just went on and on about this at the Grammys. We don't think about who the hell's picking this. I don't know if y'all saw with the Grammys. They're like, I didn't pick Lana Del Rey. I didn't listen to any of the albums, but I picked Taylor Swift because she's popular. I went to the Eras tour, but that is not a goddamn reason to pick somebody. And they do the same thing
No,
with the
you
Oscars.
go and you listen to everyone and compare it.
Yeah, hot takes.
Yeah. Kat, did you have a hot take? I don't know if you came with a hot take. It's fine if you don't have one.
Yeah, I think my only hot take is just maybe I wish we learned more about Keith, because I think Sebastian's such a bitter man, and Keith must have had a big part of it. He always says he got shanghaied, ripped off, whatever, and it must have been Keith. And then he just like, Mia was like, no, but forgive Keith, and he was like, all right, yeah, you're right. And I know he needed the job, and it's perfect, it's amazing. I'm sure it might have been too much, so that's why I hesitate. But I would have liked to know what's up with Keith, what happened.
They also cut out a bit of with the roommates, I think, like from what I read. And the roommates and then
Yes.
Keith, like their characters, we definitely wanted to know more about them.
Yes, the roommates are amazing. I bring it up, and I think the more I rewatch La La Land, the roommates from My Favorite Number, someone in the crowd, I'm like, bitches are talented. Who are they? I want to know.
Outside of like just as people, all three of them are successful pretty much.
Yes.
I don't know if you've seen Happy Death Day or anything, but Jessica Rothy, she's the lead in that. Sonoya Mizuno, fantastic. She has a show called Devs that she led. So good.
I
She's
didn't
an
know
Ex
that.
Machina too. She's in Maniac
Devs was so
with
I believe, if I'm right, that girl has a huge career even outside of Broadway, maybe, if I'm right. But they're also talented.
she was like model or something. Yeah, she was in Crazy Rich Asians too. I forgot about that.
That's a comfort movie of mine. Love it. I'll try and look
Yeah.
out for her next time I inevitably rewatch Crazy Rich Asians.
She's the one that's getting married.
Oh.
You as soon as you see her face, you'll be like, oh my god, that's her.
Oh, crazy.
Katie, what's your hot take?
My hot take is non-existent, but I will add a comment. I think I'm trying to think if this could be a Broadway or stage performance
Yeah.
and still
Oh, yeah.
be just as good. Think about it more than just say yes.
Tell her, Kat, tell her.
It's coming to Broadway.
That's not a surprise. to
So
me at
what are we
all.
gonna go
But
see
is
it?
it gonna be
Yeah.
Oh
just
yeah,
as good?
I grew up a couple hours from
Let's
New
go.
York, and it's like so easy. Like my family goes for day trips like all the time because my mom was a theater major, theater kid, theater adult, etc. Worked in theater until she was
Oh,
like in
yeah.
her early 30s, and she will always say like, "Let's go to this Broadway show." And I was a little ungrateful brat going up because it'd be like, "I don't want to go to a Broadway show. Like I don't like musicals." And then when I was a teenager, I was like, "Okay, I love them." And there's a couple that I always loved, but in general, I was just way too picky. And now I'm like down to see anything. And I made my mom watch La La Land for the first time a couple summers ago. Last summer, I think I put it on my TikTok because I was like, "What you love musicals? My favorite movie's a musical, happens to be, and you've never seen it." I made her watch it. She's obsessed, and she said the second it hits Broadway,
Yeah.
we're going.
That's awesome. Shout out to Kat's mom.
Literally, she's amazing. We're so different. It's absurd, but she's amazing.
I think that it could definitely be great on Broadway. I'm just wondering, they can obviously do the story and the numbers and such, but I'm wondering if if Broadway performance will hold a light to the film, because the film is made as to a musical
I know what
for
you
the
mean.
big screen. And usually musical adaptations are from stage performance to the screen, and so they kind of feel a little more watered down from the original story. So I'm wondering if it's going to feel watered down because it's a adaptation of
No,
the
that's a
form.
good point.
That being said, I'll fly up to fucking New York and watch it.
But Kat, what you're talking about, how like the roommates and maybe Keith, I think they might pad them out and give them more character work in the Broadway stuff.
Yeah, musicals, you got more time on the stage.
It's a different
Yeah.
art form too. I think it
Oh,
can
yeah.
express it in its own way.
It is.
Yeah, you never know. It's really interesting. I think Broadway more and more trying to attract people is doing the I mean, freaking Harry Potter's on Broadway right now. Like so many movies have made Broadway, and it's either such a hit or it's such a flop. Spider-Man took to Broadway. I saw it in middle school. It was short-lived.
Like Turn Off the Dark?
How was it?
Turn Off the Dark?
Short-lived. Iconic, though. Like, listen, I had a good time, but short-lived. And where Mean Girls is an example where it thrived. Then they made they made a movie about the musical about the movie. So, it'll be interesting to see where La La Land falls.
Welcome to Hollywood.
How can we make that money? But I would be shocked if it didn't go well. I like to think. Well, if Damien Chazelle's not involved in all, in Justin Hurwitz, that would be such a red flag. I need to look into that. If they are, I'm like, I trust you. You're going to be amazing.
Yeah, they're involved, and I think Pasek and Paul, who wrote the songs for this movie, they're all involved. Oh, so it's awesome.
Oh, thank God. Then it's going to be amazing. I would actually bet millions of dollars that I don't have that it'll be amazing if they're involved.
We will be spending millions of dollars to see it.
Zach, what about you?
What's your hot take?
So my hot take's more not really about the movie, but what surrounds the movie. I think the backlash of this movie kind of broke Chazelle a little bit, and I didn't really fully realize that until Babylon. In this movie, he idealizes old Hollywood so much through just how he shows so much love to it, from just how he takes from old musicals and, brings it to a modern form. And that when he finally gets to making a movie like Babylon, it's like a complete 180 that he really shows a lot of the bad side of Hollywood, the whole Tobey Maguire stuff in Babylon. It's like a real show of that. And I just kind of wonder if all the optimism that he got criticized for when La La Land came out, I wonder if he internalized a lot of that, because he made First Man, which is a lot about isolation and loneliness and trying to understand your place in the world, and then Babylon, which is very much about discarding Hollywood, what old Hollywood did and how corrupt and,
messed up it was.
Yeah, exactly. I just kind of wonder if that optimism that he had earlier in his career, I kind of wonder if it's gone. We won't know till his next movie.
I don't think I think it might be Babylon that kills him, because no one went and saw his movie.
Oh, I
really.
worry.
And
no.
And it's like I don't think it's gonna hurt him. I think he's got thick enough skin. And it's like if he doesn't weather it, we will see it, and if he does, we'll see it too. I think he's 4 for 4.
Yeah. No, it's nothing about the quality of his movie. It's just that he used to have this very the Spielberg
the
optimism.
Ideology.
Every Spielberg movie has a level of most of them have a level of optimism to them. After seeing First Man and then especially Babylon, it's a departure from the tone that he had in his previous movies.
I will say the one saving hope is that he wrote Babylon before La La Land.
That's a good point.
He's had that one in the can for a minute.
Is Whiplash optimistic?
Whiplash, he literally made to make La La Land, because it was originally a short film to get attention.
No, it's not optimistic.
Oh, no,
maybe
for
not
sure.
optimistic, but it's not like, hey, this is the underbelly of the industry
I
I
know
work
what you
in.
mean, but I wanted to make sure you fleshed that out.
Yeah, I rewatched Whiplash.
That movie just flies, man.
And I haven't seen it in years, like 2 years,
Fantastic.
like not that long. And I literally just forgot about the car accident. And I went, I was like, I knew that happened.
It gets you every time, right?
I'm the guy who always jumps in his seat, so that always gets me.
Oh my God. And I was watching with a roommate who had never seen it. And he was like, oh my, he's like, is he going to still go back to the show after the car accident? And I was like, I mean, I don't know. Wait and see.
Yeah.
So it's so
Whiplash.
good. But yeah, that is interesting. Now I'm really seeing a theme of maybe his love-hate for the industry he's in. And it's quite a theme with him.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Vikash, what's your take?
I'm kind of in the same place as you, where it's like it's kind of about the movie, but it's kind of outside of it. Is that Seb is not trying to save jazz in this movie, and nor will he ever save jazz with the movie, like with what he's doing, which I feel like is kind of a hot take, because the way I see it is that he is being a bastion of jazz. So it's like, yeah, he's trying to show people what jazz is in a classic sense, but like Zach was talking about, the compromise and everything, he's not moving forward with anything with his music, and that's why he will always be in the past rather than the future. And I think Chazelle wrote him to be a very flawed character. I think Ryan gives him kind of a bit of heart that wasn't in the script, but it's like he's a very cynical person when he acts like he's not, in a sense. He's very traditionalist.
Yeah, he is cynical. Yeah, his character development is just so interesting.
I just wonder how much of Chazelle wrote of himself into this character, because Chazelle obviously has a fascination with jazz, as you've seen through now 3 out of 4 of his movies have featured it pretty heavily. So I kind of wonder how much of what Seb's saying is Chazelle giving his own input, or maybe writing a parody of people who maybe are really into jazz. I don't know the line of
where it lands. Like this time watching, I was thinking about it because it's been like a topic people are always like writing off this movie, like, oh, it's about the white guy that saved jazz.
No.
But I don't think it is. I mean, like, you look at it, like every single scene where there's actually people playing jazz, there's always people of color, and he's the only white guy there, essentially.
Yeah,
it's like a reverse Elvis kind of, where it's like it's like Elvis trying to save the music of the blues or something, but he's not the person who's saving it.
Yeah,
I think it's interesting.
As a white girl who likes to talk a lot, I hesitate to touch on that because people say he's mansplaining it to Keith, and I'm like, where? I don't know. I also don't understand. I think they're going through a debate. I don't think he's like mansplaining anything to Keith. I don't know. That's not how I take it, and I've never heard of anyone like in my life taking it that way.
And like John Legend, he even has his point about it.
They're just arguing over being traditional versus moving it forward. Just different ways on how to save it. He's like, we need to keep it the same. And he's like, dude, they're just having an argument, you know, on how to save jazz.
That's what I want to touch on is how in the story they're having like a back and forth, like not argument, but like a disagreement about how they want to share their love of jazz. But in a meta aspect, I think it's just a message saying people are going to want to preserve something in a traditional sense, and some people are going to want to let it adapt and change to fit what people are interested now, so then it can continue. Neither person is right nor wrong, but it's just a moral and ethical disagreement some people might have, and it's just preference. Neither of them are wrong. One person wants to preserve the music at its heart. The other says it needs to change in order to survive, and it keep its integrity, sure, but it has to continue to adapt. And the nature of the music is to adapt.
Yep.
So
I completely agree.
It's very interesting conversation that they have. I really like it because it's in the movie, like it's a disagreement, and especially in a professional environment, like this is their job, their career kind of deal. But in a meta sense, like it's eye-opening to people that don't already realize, like.
Yeah, I completely appreciate everyone sharing how they feel about it. I've only seen like 2 people on TikTok use that take that he's like, that like Ryan Gosling's character is way too aggressive with Keith, basically mansplaining, which is also one of the most overused words ever.
I use it as a joke at this point.
Oh, I use it as a joke. I'll say to my roommate if I'm explaining something, like for example, I'm like, not to mansplain, and it's just like asking her to take out the trash. Like, can you? Like it doesn't make sense anymore. I don't know what it means, but neither does anybody else.
I'm gonna keep it in my pocket.
No, literally.
If Zach tries to tell me anything, I'll just be like, don't mansplain.
Oh, literally. I'll do that to my brother, and he goes, shut the fuck up. And I'm like, haha, you're right. But yeah, no, it's hilarious.
You just mansplained to me.
Yeah, like it's like in the category of gaslight. Like we've beaten that word to death, and people
gaslight,
use that.
gatekeep.
Yeah, it's lost
people
its integrity.
use that to say that he mansplained jazz. I'm like, they're literally just talking about a different approach. Like, calm down.
Yeah.
And that's how I see it.
Also, I mean, who really cares? It's not like that's not in the text of the movie. If you want to add that to the text of the movie, you can, but you're just misreading the movie, and that's your call. Like, who cares? You know?
Yeah, and I hate that it's like I've seen it throughout, like since the movie came out. I see people automatically dismissing the movie because they think it's that, and every time I watch this movie, I'm like, I keep it in my mind, and I just don't see it.
I understand the take. I don't agree with it.
I appreciate people pointing it out because like I said, I love the discourse.
Speaking of the discourse, we should get into the Oscars because there's a lot of discourse there.
Okay, so the Oscars. Did this movie get Oscars? Because I think this is the highest nominated Oscar movie that we have talked about on this podcast yet. It's nominated 14 times and it won 6. So it is one of the highest nominated movies ever. But Titanic wins.
I think it's tied.
Yeah, it's All About Eve from 1950, and then it's Titanic. Except Titanic nominated for 14, won 11.
Yeah.
This one
I thought
won
it was
6.
Return of the
so
King.
It's like,
maybe that one's a.
Damn.
I thought it was Return of the King too, but apparently it got one less nomination, but it's got more wins.
Return of the King's nominated for 11,
Yeah.
won 11. But anyway,
Here's what we got. So nominated for Best Picture, famously lost to Moonlight, which we'll get into. Ryan Gosling was a nominee for Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role. Emma Stone was the winner for Best Actress. Damien Chazelle won Best Directing. He was a nominee for
the youngest person.
Yeah, 32, which is incredible. He was a nominee for Best Original Screenplay. They won Best Cinematography, a nominee for Best Film Editing, a nominee for Best Costume Design, winner for Best Original Score, nominee for Sound Mixing, a nominee for Sound Editing, nominee for Original Song, which was Audition, and winner for Original Song, which was City of Stars, and then also winner for production design. So this really cleaned up in both the acting, above the line categories, but also did really well in the below the line categories like editing.
So Casey Affleck won instead of Ryan Gosling, right, for lead actor.
Manchester by the Sea.
I'm not mad about that. I think Affleck was incredible in that.
I didn't watch that movie, honestly.
You don't want to. It's going to make you cry a lot.
It's bleak.
It's really bleak.
The scene in the precinct with the, that scene haunts my mind. Like I don't want anybody to watch it. Kenny Lonergan's amazing, but that's something else.
I'm not mad about Affleck winning that one personally. Gosling's great in this, but I think Emma Stone's really the star. Like, I'm more happy that she won. I saw Poor Things, and I still think this is Emma Stone's best performance. I don't know if that's a hot take.
That is where we are going to have a slight disagreement, because I think they're to neck and neck. Poor Things, she displays so much range in her role and so much diversity in what, not just like her ability, but like what kind of character she is willing to play, will play. I just think Poor Things is more impressive in that technical aspect.
No, I hear you.
Is it her best role, or is it her most acting? Did she do the most acting in Poor Things, or did she do the best acting? There's a difference there, 'cause she does a lot of acting in it.
I've only seen Poor Things once too, so I can't give too much of a heavy opinion.
Oh yeah, you break the tie here, Kat. What do you think's a better performance?
Yeah, you'll be the break.
I think they're just different. And also, I think it's kind of hard. I think about this all the time. I'm obviously not an actor, but I had to take like a couple act classes in college. They're like a part of. They're like very low key, but like it's kind of interesting. And I don't know. There might be an actor if they listen to this and think like, girl, you don't know what you're talking about. But I feel like there are some things that are just easier for some people to play. If you're naturally like a goofy person, it's gonna be easier for you to do a challenging role that's goofy, other than like a maybe not as challenging role that's quite serious and emotional, like, you know what I mean? And I go back and forth because I feel like Emma Stone's, like, any interview or anything I've seen her, she's such a goofy person.
Oh yeah, like I would be her best friend kind of deal.
Yeah, and Poor Things is like it's kind of goofy.
It's one of my favorite movies this year.
Oh, me too. It's incredible. I really loved it, and she's amazing. So I kind of have like another non-answer. I feel like I lean towards Poor Things just because just think as an actress, there's like obviously so many things that's just like out of a comfort zone, so hard to do, that I was like, Emma Stone's doing this? Like, she agreed to like, oh my god.
She agreed to a lot of that.
Sweet little Mia, sweet little Gwen Stacy. Like,
she did a lot.
And just all of it. And it's just like, also the story is really hard. Just like, okay, so your character is a full grown woman with the brain of a baby. Go. Like, it's like, what the hell? So for that reason, I go Poor Things. But also, I think it's like so neck and neck and like hard because La La Land is like, she's not a singer or a dancer. She had to like learn do that for La La Land. And like, there's so much emotion there. Like I said earlier, like when she just like, I don't know, I think I really was like, yeah, girl needs that Oscar when that scene where they get in a fight, when Sebastian surprises Mia and she's like crying and she asks, are you kidding? And I think just also the part where she's yelling outside her parents' house, I think she shows a lot of emotion, but just generally like, I think I will go with Poor Things because she's given a script. Hey, you're a baby in a woman's body and you have to do X, Y, and Z. I think anyone would look at that and go, how the fuck am I going to do that? Yeah. So I think it's just more challenging in general. I feel like it's hard to not pick it, but I don't think there's a wrong answer.
I think most people would agree with you too.
There's no wrong answer. Both
are just for me.
No, I hear you. It's like I've thought about it. I've gone back and forth.
Movies are
I'll probably
very
go back
well
and forth
done.
again. But I don't know.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Poor Things.
It's crazy.
Yeah, don't see it. Don't see it with your dad, Vikash.
It's not gonna be a movie for you.
I made a TikTok about that. I said recent releases. You're
oh,
not.
I know.
It did pretty
also
well. It got like
Saltburn.
30,000 likes. It was like, and I have not.
Oh
been,
yeah.
I started.
I would see that movie with my mom though. She would enjoy it.
Not my Catholic mother who makes sure I'm wearing my turtleneck.
Not my mother either.
I mean, my mom's Catholic.
My mom's not that Catholic. She's just my whole life. Like she's like, make sure. She just didn't let me buy ripped jeans growing up for reference. That's how she is a little bit.
My mom didn't, but that's because her parents wouldn't let her, so she kind of just portrayed that stuff.
No, same vibe. We love our
mothers. She
we
just portrayed that stuff on me.
Yeah.
My mom knows better now. She buys me cute clothes even if they're ripped.
Okay. Putting this train back on the tracks, Vikash.
So when we did a podcast on Arrival recently, and I was like, oh yeah, like, you know, Amy Adams should have won. No, I'm wrong. I can fully admit that this is Emma's year. This is like the best win. This is perfect.
Yeah.
Well, what we said on that pod was that when we went through the Oscars, I remember we were like, yeah, this kind of sucks that Arrival came out this year because all the categories that it got beat in by La La Land, it kind of was it was understandable.
Understood.
I mean, a La La beat Arrival for cinematography. Like you'd be like, Arrival has great cinematography, but then you're like, well, La La Land also has great cinematography. It's like, what do you do? So
yeah, there's so many times I think about that. Like if it's like one movie might get nothing one year, but let's say they released it in January of whatever year instead of October the previous year. It's just all about who you're up against. So the Oscars, I find myself for so many reasons like being like, oh my gosh, like this won an Oscar, so we should watch it. And then I'm like, but remember when this one got snubbed, I'm like, they mean nothing.
Yeah.
And then I just go back and forth.
Yeah.
And it all depends on so many little contingencies, and it doesn't mean anything. So yeah.
One of my favorite movies this year, it's called Origin, and Neon, they pushed Ferrari instead of Origin, and Origin would have had all the noms that like Maestro would have had. So it's like, I know exactly what you're talking about because I'm feeling it right now.
Oh, I didn't. Oh yeah, with John Barenthal. I didn't see that.
It didn't get released in a lot of
We
places.
gotta go see that.
Another thing, it's so much about marketing. Like people are talking about Iron Claw and get nominated because A24 didn't market it, or like same with Priscilla. I'm like, I just like now I'm starting the older I get with these award shows like Grammys, Oscars, Emmys, whatever. I'm thinking like, okay, who's deciding this? Who's back here?
It's the production companies. So the perfect example is Vice. It was 2018.
Yeah.
Vice and If Beale Street Could Talk. So If Beale Street Could Talk, I don't know if you've seen it, Kat.
I have.
These two haven't, but it's like, you know, it's an amazing movie, right? Like they didn't get nominated or anything because instead of pushing that, the production company was like, oh yeah, we spent all this money on Vice. It lost money, but let's put money behind it at the Oscars so we get a bunch of nominations for it. So people might go and watch it. That's why If Beale Street Could Talk did not get nominated that much.
That's so cheap.
I think that's what makes Moonlight actually kind of interesting here, to bring it back to La La Land. La La Land was the movie with a lot of money behind it, and it really, by all indicators, we thought it was going to win Best Picture. It's very rare to have someone win. Barry Jenkins was nominated for Best Director, and he didn't win Best Director. That should have been a precursor to say, oh, La La Land's going to win. But yet, Moonlight won, which a $1 million budget, and I don't know what the marketing behind it was, but it couldn't have been that much. And
is A24. If I remember, or Plan B.
I was rewatching it today. The whole I rewatched the full 8 minutes because I remember when it happened. It was crazy. That was one of the
of the actual Oscars.
And it's on the website. They embrace it. But that was one of the first viral Twitter moments I remember, because I wasn't on Twitter till later, and I just remember Twitter going off. But one of the things that he says, Barry Jenkins, when he gets up in his speech, talks about how, you know, he couldn't even dream this, and then he's like, to hell with dreams, I'm done with it because this is true. And I don't know if he intended this, but it was kind of like a really big like dig at La La Land, who won all the precursors, won all the other awards from award shows, and then he's like, to hell with dreams, I'm done with it. And I was just blown away watching it today. I was like, oh, I don't remember that. He just like dug the shit out of him on live television and told him to get the fuck off the stage.
Yeah, I need to rewatch now. I know the Smartless podcast. It's like huge with Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, Sean Hayes. They had Emma Stone on a couple months ago, and they asked about the La La Land thing, and she seemed like kind of uncomfortable, and I don't really blame her because like what can she say? Like, and she just was like, "Oh, Moonlight's amazing."
Well, yeah, it's a little embarrassing.
She said that she was like she just made like a joke. She's like, "I actually only felt bad for my mom because she said her mom couldn't go. Her mom was at home, and her mom was confused that." And she said that most people she talked to thought this. That I'm like, what? Like she said that older people thought that something bad happened. That like something like bad happened when everyone was looking around like on the stage. And she's like, I just felt bad for my mom. And I remember like Jason Bateman and all of them were like, wait, what? And she's like, yeah, every older person I talked to was like terrified that like something bad happened in that auditorium. And I'm like, I don't know if she was just trying to avoid the question or like, but I'm like, that's interesting. But you're definitely when
it did look like there was some sort of emergency
gun
or
trauma
was going on because there were like serious shit going on. It was very scary looking.
Which is interesting. So you just rewatched it, and now that makes me want to rewatch it because I'm like,
the MVP was Jordan Horowitz, the guy who came up and put the paper up. He saved everything.
It's La La Land. You know, it's Moonlight. Yeah. I had to make sure that wasn't. Like
I respect him for just taking.
And he goes, serious. I'm being so serious, guys. Moonlight, and holds it up. He's like, you won. Yeah, that does crack me up. I did. Right beforehand, like deserve more recognition. I said no, honestly, because I think it just got so much appropriate recognition. It was kind of just like a back and forth battle. Just when I don't obviously remember the whole thing, but I was looking back through the nominations and wins. I feel like it was a back and forth battle with Moonlight and La La Land the whole evening at the Oscars. And it just feels, I mean, I can't be mad. I think Moonlight's a 5 out of 5. I think it's amazing and like groundbreaking in a lot of ways. It did something different. They both did something different, but Moonlight with like the younger, middle, like teenager and then adult, like it just uncovered a lot of ground that, you know, again, like I said earlier, film is like way too late to the game and covering. So I think Moonlight was the right choice, even though I like favor La La Land.
No, it was.
So I think it's appropriate.
For sure.
I think it won a lot. It was nominated for a lot. Everything's amazing. It worked out.
You know how you were saying, like, the first time you watched La La Land, you weren't feeling it? For me, the first time I watched Moonlight, I was like, this is really good, but I'm missing something. And then about 3 months after the Oscars, I rewatched it, and it hit me like a bag of bricks.
I swear to God, I don't know what the science is between like when you watch something.
It's a mental thing.
Even the first time.
It's all in your brain.
I don't know what it is. The first time I watched Priscilla, I was like, huh. And then I watched it 2 more times and I was like, it's so good. I love it. I don't know what it is. It's something that maybe I'll never figure out why. Sometimes I love something, sometimes I don't. Or sometimes things grow on me. Sometimes they just wear down with every rewatch. But La La Land on the second watch was
this movie won't though.
No. La La Land will never wear down.
Oh, yeah,
it gets better every time.
Yes. That's the type of movie we love to talk about. That's the ones I try to bring up.
Yeah, it does kind of suck when you love a movie and then you watch it again, you're like, it's awkward.
Okay,
it wasn't
trying
as
to
good.
go too far off track, but that happened to me with Watchmen. The first time I watched it, I was like 10 out of 10. Zack Snyder, genius. And then like every time I watched it afterwards, it like went down like a star, and I was just like, okay, I can't watch this anymore. It ruined. It's ruined for me.
I watched Phantom of the Opera for the first time since like early high school.
Yeah.
Over the summer, and I still love it. It's still a classic, but dude, like, it was romanticized so freaking hard, and it's just actually really fucking toxic. And it's like, as an adult, it's good that I see that and I can still appreciate and love it and whatnot, but oh my God, it was so painful. I was sitting there on the couch messaging everyone because Zach was on a work trip, so I'm home alone watching it. And I'm just like, why the fuck did I turn this on? I ruined my life.
Okay.
This is just ruining all my childhood for me because my mom put this on when I was like 10 and I loved it. And now it's like, it's 15 years later and it's awful.
Does La La Land have better costuming work, or did Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them have better work?
You know the answer to that.
That's a technical kind of...
It's La La Land.
I think it's La La Land.
That is such a funny comparison.
Fantastic Beasts won. No. Like, it won the Oscar. Like, Fantastic Beasts won an Oscar for costume design. Yeah, over La La Land.
Fantastic Beasts was nominated for anything.
I think it's because it's more of a time piece.
Yeah,
it's like
the lady that did it, Colleen Atwood that did it, she's like an amazing, costumer. But, Mary Zophris, who did La La Land, amazing work. I think she deserved it 10 times over.
Yeah, because again, the colors are so iconic. We'll be talking about them forever and ever.
Yeah, it's the colors, it's the skirts. how everyone's dress flares properly. These are Broadway theater dresses designed for a movie kind of deal. Like, this isn't just a dress that you're throwing on because it looks nice and you're kind of getting it to sit right. It has to move right. So, like, I think that La La Land should have gotten the costumes, because costume just top notch. Musical already kind of gets a bump up. Just
I agree. I mean,
yeah,
I am a Harry Potter child at heart, turned Harry Potter adult. The Fantastic Beasts, the first one's the best out of all those, but they're just so mediocre and disappointing and run of the fucking mill. And if you ask anything about the costume with Fantastic Beasts, I can like maybe remember Eddie Redmayne's. Like, I could tell you specifically years later everything about La La Land. I'm like, oh, and this Emma Stone was wearing green when she left the table with her boyfriend or whatever, and then she was wearing yellow the night they first meet, and someone in the crowd, the dresses they're all wearing, and they look perfectly. They're not too old school Hollywood. They look modern, but they're not too modern like you'd find it at a Forever 21 kind of modern. Like, they're perfect. So 100%. It's not even a question.
I gotta bring up two more.
Yeah, bring them up.
Zach, so sound mixing, Hacksaw Ridge won for that. The only thing I will say is that Hacksaw Ridge shouldn't have won, but the guy who won it's his first. I think he had like 20 nominations or something, and it was his first win.
That movie. So,
but besides that,
anything else? I don't give a shit about Mel Gibson.
What
else?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fuck him. Okay. But original screenplay. Kenneth Lonergan. I call him Kenny, but he won for Manchester by the Sea. Lobster was nominated.
I love
Yorgos.
Lobster.
Hell or High Water.
I love
Taylor
Hell or
Sheridan.
High Water, yeah.
I loved Hell or High Water.
And
Same.
La La Land and 20th Century Women from Mike Mills.
I say this, the original screenplay category, if you really want to know every year what the best movies of the Oscars are, look at the original screenplay category, not the best picture, not anything else. That's where like the juice is. That's where the good stuff is. All these movies are fantastic this year.
Yeah, this is the first year in a while where I like don't know what's gonna sweep. Like, I will say I made an Oscars prediction TikTok last year, and I was like damn near correct. And I'm not like bragging. It was kind of odd. Like, everything everywhere was like,
oh no, I saw.
Kat, I was there too.
Yeah, I was like,
yeah, this man kicked my ass, and I'm over here, and I'm like, nothing I wanted and nothing I predicted. I probably got like half of them right.
The Oscars
I was sad.
They mean so much, and they're so valid if what I want wins, and they're trash, rigged.
Yeah, this is gonna be me when
like
Oppenheimer doesn't win. I'm gonna be
We're your people.
Like,
that's us.
I felt that way about the Grammys. I was like, if Lana Del Rey wins everything, the Grammys are so valid and amazing, and she didn't. I'm like, the Grammys are rigged. I'm never watching them again.
The Grammys have been trash since they gave Macklemore a Grammy over.
I had that conversation the other day. I think that literally killed that organization. I don't think it's had any credibility since then. Not that it ever did. Yeah.
Huge Kendrick fan. I saw him this summer. But anyway,
cool.
I think with the Oscars, this is the first year that I feel like I just don't know. I feel like I don't have a good idea on a sweep. Like, I feel like I'm tempted
That's the
to
only
say
obvious
Oppenheimer,
one.
but
I don't know if it's going to sweep. I think it's just going to get maybe a couple of the top line stuff.
Yeah.
Barbie's heavy, so I don't know what they'll get. I don't know what that's gonna be.
I think Barbie might take some of the other stuff, and then
Kat, how were you on Barbie?
I love Barbie. I feel like I don't feel like I think there's so much criticism, and I like definitely hear it. I definitely am not like it's perfect and amazing. I really do like Barbie. Like, I left feeling very satisfied. I think it's amazing. But I think so many people are critical that Greta Gerwig didn't cover this or that or enough. But, like, she had 2 hours. She covered so much. I'm like, come on, guys.
She couldn't.
So I think
my only thing was like I would have preferred the movie to be fully from like America Ferrera's character story.
Totally.
I feel like that had more juice for me, just emotionally.
Yeah.
But I'm a guy complaining.
No, you're not complaining.
The movie's not for me.
Please, this is
like it's not.
This is where I could go on another.
The movie's for everybody. Yeah. It shares all the angles of patriarchy and how it is wrong.
Like, I like the movie, but the Will Ferrell stuff was weird and didn't make sense.
I think they just pulled him in
I hated that.
Give a corporate recognition to make jokes.
I don't
for
give
the
a shit
adults,
about
and
the
also
company.
to have
Like,
his name on
leave
it.
that out.
Yeah, I
think that's what it was.
I totally
No,
get
but it was
that.
for like the parents that are bringing their kids, and then it's like,
because
yes,
they're
this
the
is the
dad
toy
or
they're
the daughter
making.
that wants to go watch
and that's the
SNL
joke.
once, so now
They
he's
could have
happy
made that
to see
joke
Will
some other
Ferrell in
way.
the movie. Like it's not. I just didn't think it was added anything.
Yeah. I honestly hear you. I think I felt some like little criticisms of Barbie, and then when I think about how nobody wanted to take it seriously, how many times they recasted the actual Barbie and the other characters and a director to do it, how the rights to Mattel and how the budget was literally impossible, and how there's so many voices in Greta Gerwig's ear that you need to include this and this and this. I think when I take in all things,
she landed
I'm like,
Greta
Greta's
she
one of
killed
the
it.
few people
I'm like,
who could have done it. Yeah.
amazing.
No,
but I
she
think
did.
that's right. And also,
Barbie was done well.
And where Vikash, where you're saying that you're like, oh, I'm just man, I can't say this. No, there's too much of that. If you're sitting here saying like what I hear a lot of people say that like this was made to like hate on men. If it's that kind of argument, I'm like, that's when I'll pull the shut up. But
when men are actually being, sound and doing things that are proper, then they can then they can complain. All the complaints are correct in the movie. Everybody knows. Everybody should know that.
Yeah, but I love all the opinions. Even I did go with a male friend who did say that. They're like, this just shit on men. Like I didn't like it.
We didn't shit
I
on
still
it.
want to hear
I
it.
went with these two men.
I love it.
No, but I sat there. I'm crying in the theater, and then y'all are like, oh, that was good. And I'm just like, okay.
But at the end of the day, I even do, like, I love it. I want to hear it. I don't think anybody should be turned off to sharing their opinion. And I think that's where I could go on and on about that. But I think there's way too much of that nowadays where it's like, I can't share this. What do I know? I want to hear it. Okay. Honestly, if you're an incel and you think that this movie is bad and you're saying something misogynistic, I'm like, it's discourse, and that's the whole reason we do this. So I'm like, and maybe I'll shit on you back, but that's how it's fun. Whatever.
I want to hear it so I can hate on them. That's the thing. I want honesty.
That's
want
true.
honesty.
I am a shit poster.
But even you, like, just because I just think there's too much of that nowadays. You're like, well, I'm a man. I don't know if I can say the Barbie movie. No. That's so valid. I think that's great. I want to hear
criticize it so long as you're not being a sexist asshole.
Exactly. But even when they are, I'm like, I'd rather you speak up so I know who you are. I'm like,
and then I can fight you with my fist.
But totally, like, but because I had one friend that gave it, oh my god, like a 3.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd, and gave like very valid reasons. Like again, it was like, I want to learn.
That's us. That's us.
Yeah.
Respectfully. That's y'all.
Respectfully. 3.5's good.
Literally, that's fine.
But it's like if it comes to Little Women, 5 stars.
I love Little Women. I love all other Greta stuff. It's just anyway, this No, this is good discourse. But literally, I want to hear everyone's opinion. I'm like, because I had one friend who gave it 3.5, and he's like, well, I mean, what do I know? And I was like, it's okay, let me hear. Like, it's you don't have to like a movie because the social climate tells you need to like it. I really hate people who are like, I didn't vibe with it, but it has a lot of great points about society, so I'm giving it a 5. And I'm just like, what's the point of watching movies if you just want to do it performatively? Like, look at it, figure out your feelings, make a rating. If people tell you your rating's stupid, tell them to fuck off. Movies are subjective. It's not like we're voting on like the Hall of Fame here for like the NFL. We don't have fucking stats. It's just, did you like it or do you not like it? Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at.
Oh, like if you go to my Letterboxd, I got some choice takes. Like you'll see where I'll give movies very high scores, and like Vikash is crazy. He's crazy at this.
No, exactly. I gave Barbie a 5-star. Like, I literally loved it. But I know I was talking to, like, my mom was like, it was okay. My brother, he really liked it, but not like a 5-star. And I'm like, great. And I think that's where, like, I'm kind of getting at with my tangent is, like, everyone's, like, afraid. Like, I made a joke about it on my TikTok the other day where I was, like, me giving a movie opinion. I'm like, hey, guys, trigger warning. You might not agree. Please don't send me death threats. I'm very sorry.
Laughing so hard.
Like, because that's literally how it is. Like, why? Like, and I think it happens in music too. Like, a good example is like, I listen to a lot of Taylor Swift music, but like, I think a lot of people, like, there are a lot of Taylor Swift fans that if you say you don't like her, it's like, what did you say?
Yeah.
And it's like, I have one friend who hates
a fan
her,
of
and I'm like, that's fine.
It's fine.
Like, that's fine. I'll probably listen to her tomorrow, and we can still be best friends. I'm like,
Shout
Exactly.
out to the new album coming out.
yeah, like I'm
So
a huge fan,
excited.
but like I think that's just a prime example that everyone's
Yeah.
talking about right now.
I just
But
don't
it
like how
happens in
toxic fans are existing, where it's like, I will fight you if you're not a fan of this in a less sarcastic way.
yeah. But people are talking about it in music, specifically with her right now, and I'm like, have you been a fan of the movie world? Because if you say you like if you say you didn't like something, someone else liked it, it can get heated for what? Like it's kind of funny.
They will
But
come at
anyway.
your soul. They'll be like, "Oh, you're ugly," or like I've heard so many bad things from from mutuals and stuff. I'm just like, people say this to y'all? They'd cast these hands. So, legacies through the prism of time for this movie. It's been about 8 years since it came out. Is there anything that pops into y'all's minds about the people in front of the camera or behind the camera? Any love or any differences about them since, it's been 8 years? Kat, you have any thoughts about anybody?
I think it's just hard to almost give thoughts here because Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling are literally both nominated for the Oscars this year. I think they're both like peaking right now, and then maybe they'll just even go
God,
up
I
from
hope so.
here. And these are our two players, but then I also just, so with them, I'm like, what can I say that you're not hearing about or reading, scrolling in your phone every single day with the Oscars coming up and the Golden Globes, etc. But yeah, with Damien Chazelle, I know we've touched on Babylon a little bit. It's really hard not to. This has kind of just become a Chazelle episode and not as much just La La Land. But don't even get me started on the underappreciation of Babylon. And I really hope he bounces back from that, because I almost just think there's nothing to like bounce back from. I think it's just, honestly, I think about, there was a nationwide snowstorm when that movie came out, and it was not marketed well. It's 3 hours and 9 minutes, and that was, a lot of people don't like that.
Oh, yeah.
It really takes a lot of hype to get people to a movie like that. I have friends that if I'm like, do you want to go see this movie with me? If it's more than 2.5 hours, they won't go. People saw too many clips of Tobey Maguire. People said that looks goofy, that looks weird. I don't want that. That should have been a complete surprise, in my opinion. So the whole marketing was
disaster.
a
Yeah, it
mess
was.
and a disaster. And it was during a snowstorm.
Oh, yeah.
It's not his fault. He needs to bounce back from this. I hope he does. So that's kind of the only
he's
thing
a
I
young
touched
white
on.
man. I mean, he's gonna bounce back. It's Hollywood.
Yeah, he's fine.
I know. People don't forget how the love for Whiplash and La La Land, but I think just morally, I don't think like people will give him a chance again. People have survived greater flops, but
I understand what you mean.
I think you just worry about him.
No, we
That's all
need
I meant.
him.
But no,
we need
you're
him.
right.
But
Yeah.
it's like he needs the sauce. He needs the money because he delivers. He delivers.
Yeah, and he delivered there, and the audience just didn't. I was like itching, asking all my friends, I'm like, go see this in theaters. And even like, just to emphasize the snowstorm, I mean, I remember for Christmas, I drove from Chicago home to Pennsylvania, and the snow, it was like actually hell and back. And the snow was so bad, just everywhere, the North, the Midwest, wherever. And I wanted to see this movie so bad. And I literally couldn't get to a theater because of the snow until January. And it came out like right before Christmas. So for me, who wanted to so bad and I couldn't, so I'm like, I'm not. I just,
you
don't
know
think
how
it's
the
its
people in
fault.
the holdover,
Anyway.
like there was a theater in like Ohio where people were watching the holdovers and they got holdover in the theater. They got locked in the theater.
I'm honestly jealous. Like, probably would have been an amazing experience if you were with the right
Yeah, I saw
people.
your rating for it. Holdovers was fantastic.
I wish someone told me Holdovers was a Christmas movie, because I would have watched it before Christmas and probably tried to catch it in the theater. No one told me it was a Christmas movie.
I know. I go home for so long over Christmas. I swear, all the movies that come out at Christmas, I have to catch up with throughout the month of January. Anyway, I just really hope that he just morally bounces back, because I think that him and Justin Hurwitz, just different readings and things. I think it hurt them that they got nothing for that.
I think they're 5 for 5. If you count Guy and Madeline on the park bench, they haven't missed yet. And
no, they're
it's
amazing.
It's good.
It's
so good or great work.
So yeah,
especially
so I
Justin.
think with how's everyone doing and how did this movie aged, I think just how I think about that is, like I said before, I can't remember the last time I've seen a movie where I'm like, oh, my grandkids will watch this and ask me what it was like when this was like coming out in the Oscar scandal. So for the movie, it just ages better and better. I hear myself, like I've said, and other people, I hear the same thing. It gets better every time you watch it. You notice more things, you appreciate more things. There's so many little things to catch and learn about. And then, Ryan Gosling, Emma Stone are at their peak. And I want Damien I can't say the same for him. I want him to bounce back. In my eyes, he's at his peak. And then, I guess any faces from the film that we love now. I think just something I was just thinking about touching on again, the girls from Someone in the Crowd.
Oh yeah.
I wish I could just learn more about them because they were amazing. That's like just watching that on YouTube on repeat is like my comfort YouTube video. Someone in the Crowd sequence.
It's Sonoya, the one that's in the yellow dress. I'm like a massive fan of her work.
Yeah.
Anything she's in, I have to watch it because she is really that.
Absolutely.
I agree. I mean, I agree with what you said. I had trouble writing out this category because, like you said, Emma Stone and Gosling are still at the height of their careers. If anything, Gosling's gotten way more famous. I don't know if this movie is the one that solidified it, but for a while he was seen as either being a heartthrob in a movie or just being like in comedies, and he's kind of transformed that into now being like a sincere like leading man. So he did Blade Runner after this. I can't name every movie he's done after this. First Man. Like he definitely, Barbie, and even Emma Stone kind of did this after this too, where both of them were like, I'm doing really cool artistic projects and I'm not doing big franchises for the most part. The Curse, Emma Stone, Poor Things we talked about. They're like, we're just gonna do really interesting work now.
She gets to pick what she wants now.
Yep.
That's what it is. She gets to pick whatever cool. She's doing The Curse, the TV show. We watched 2 episodes.
Oh yeah,
I haven't finished it either. Yeah, but I mean, Poor Things. What's the other one that she did where she won the other Oscar for? The Favorite.
The Favorite. She didn't win. She was nominated. She was nominated.
Okay,
for
someone
Best
else
Supporting
won in
Actress.
that. Yeah.
But she was great in that. I'm excited for her union with Yorgos.
Oh yeah, they work
for decades.
together.
I feel a real powerhouse coming that's not gonna stop.
I just hope that Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone have more like romance movies together because their chemistry is
I would love to see it again.
So strong that I was telling Zach that I would literally watch anything that the two of them are in together, and not just that, but if I had to pick like a couple to lead every romance movie ever for the rest of my life and that's it, I would pick them because their chemistry is just so perfect. They could do anything. You could throw them in any kind of environment and they could nail it. I love it. I want more.
They're amazing.
Crazy Stupid Love was my first exposure to it, and oof,
they need to do it in like 20 years, 30 years, like do an older one too. I'd love to see that.
Oh yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised. I could see that.
I would love that.
So the guy who shot La La Land, he's the guy who shot Saltburn. These two haven't seen Saltburn, but I didn't know that. Saltburn.
I do love Saltburn.
Yeah, Saltburn looked great.
That actually makes me so happy because they both are so beautiful. Like people who hated Saltburn, which like that's a movie that I'm like, some people like it should have been nominated for the Oscars. I'm like, I loved it, but I disagree. I'm like, it's crazy on movie on its own. Leave it be. But even people who hated it were like, oh well, it was so beautiful.
Oh, I'm mixed about it, but like the technical work is fantastic.
Beautiful.
Like everything from like the title cards to the costumes and the like everything, acting.
Again,
it's just not my cup of tea. That's all.
With Saltburn, I was in like the silliest mood, and then I saw Saltburn, and I was like, I was like, that's so funny. But I could picture myself if I was like burnt out. Like I have to acknowledge this now that I'm talking about La La Land and how I felt the first time. If I was like burnt out from like a week and I was like, well, I already agreed to go to this movie with a friend, I probably would have hated it if I'm really thinking about it now. This is making me think. Talking with you guys about
I've been waiting to get in the mindset to watch Saltburn. I want to like hang out and chill.
I still think you're right about that. Yeah, I actually actively avoid watching movies when I don't feel like I'm in the right mood for it, which means I'm not watching movies as much as I would like to. But the last thing I want is to sit down and be like an hour in and be like, I'm just not in the mood for this. I can't even enjoy or appreciate whatever's on. Yeah, it's got to be like the right conditions.
No, Zach, I totally agree. I go through phases, and like I swear the whole last year I like rewatched Sopranos, I rewatched Goodfellas multiple times. If it didn't have mafia, murder, mystery, like violence, I was like, I don't want to see it. And then something's happened to me in the last month.
Goodfellas is his favorite movie.
Oh really?
Like,
my favorite movie?
Yeah.
It's one of them. Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's one of them.
His number one.
I'm not that much of a film.
It's not his number one.
But yeah, I do. It's one of my favorites. Yeah.
It's in my top. I love it.
It's very good. It has like an identical cast to Sopranos, and that's my favorite show of all time. And so many people in Sopranos have cast, and they're past. It's literally the same cast. But I go through phases. Like last year, I literally would try and like watch anything other than like Hill House, some seasons of American Horror Story, Sopranos. I'm like The Wire. I'm like, I just want to watch mafia, murder, mystery, like violence.
Yeah,
and then
that
now
was
I'm in a
me,
mode
but
where
with
I
Tony
want to watch like
Scott.
cozy
Yeah.
and like silly, and I'm like, I don't want to watch anything dark right now. I go through phases.
That's
Same.
fair.
Yeah,
Same.
it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
MVP, most valuable player. As Katie says, you the MVP, mom. Kat, who is your MVP for this movie?
I feel like we're all gonna have the same one. All I wrote for this, capital letters, Damien Chazelle. I said he literally made Whiplash just so he could make La La Land. Like this was his passion project. This was his baby. I wouldn't say this would be nothing without him, because we've always talked about how everyone else is so amazing. But like that man's the glue. He's the creator.
Oh, yeah.
He's the reason.
It's so beautiful.
Switch it out with someone else. I don't know, guys. We talked about recasting
go.
Sebastian Mia. We're like, oh, it wouldn't have been as good with these people, but these are good options. I'm like, I don't want to
Yeah.
think about
No,
another person.
it's literally
for
the only
Damien
other
Chazelle.
person who could do it is Steven Spielberg, and it would
no
be
one
like
else.
West Side Story, you know, like, and that's a compliment to Damien Chazelle.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be as good.
No, you're right. This is better than West Side Story, so it's a compliment to Chazelle.
I didn't love
It
West Side
is.
Story.
West Side Story was fantastic, but this is better.
Yeah, besides Ansel Elgort, I do like that movie. Yeah, no, I mean, that's the right choice. It's definitely not the choice I picked because I wanted to be different, but that is the right choice, Chazelle.
Mine was 3 people. It's Justin Hurwitz and then Pasek and Paul.
Yeah, Hurwitz.
All the music people put together.
Okay, well then we have the same one because I wrote down Horowitz. I think
Honestly,
that
yeah.
a lot of the the reason a
Cool.
lot of musicals fail is because the songs end up kind of sucking. They don't work outside of the movie, and for them to compose a score, not just songs, but a score that also has lived on past the movie is really difficult, and is, you know, just as key as Chazelle is to this movie. Them coming up with that sort of work is just as key to why this movie's so long lasting.
100%.
I know y'all don't watch Bollywood movies, but in Bollywood, or in India in general, it's like all of our music comes from movies, pretty much. So even if a movie is bad, if the music is good, it'll help the movie go up.
I love
like
that.
in sales or stuff like that. Or it's like, you know, even if the movie's bad, you have good music. So it's like the life of that stays there. There's I listen to so much Indian music, so much Hindi music. I've never seen the movies, but the songs are fantastic.
Oh, I
And
love
I think
that.
about that all the time.
Huh.
So I wrote down just literally anyone from my legacies. I could argue every person, and my legacies are Ryan Gosling, Emma Stone, Chazelle, and Hurwitz. So Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone I'll touch on then, because honestly, like, Gosling took the piano music. He practiced for hours every day for weeks to be able to do it himself. And the two of them learned and choreographed, and they're not singers and dancers traditionally. So they went above and beyond for this role, and their chemistry, I see them as like just a pair. Like, you
Fred
can't
and
take
Ginger,
one. Yeah, you can't just have one without the other. Like, they are a unit in this movie, and if they were with any other partner for it, it wouldn't have been the same.
Yeah,
So
totally.
like, perfect, love them. Love everything.
We even
in
have
them.
it in India. Like, y'all probably don't know who Shah Rukh Khan is, but Shah Rukh Khan and this actress, her name's Kajol. Like, they've had multiple like romantic movies together throughout all the years, and it's like they are essentially the Ryan and Emma in India, but like
Hell yeah.
20 times bigger. Everybody knows them. It's crazy.
Love
So
that.
I love that. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I just, this movie's so well done, and you could argue like the guy that cleans their clothes is the MVP kind of deal. Like, this is just such a well done movie. Like, literally any person, janitorial staff, MVP.
We spoke about costumes so much as well.
Yeah.
I will say a random one. Ari Robbins. I'm gonna send y'all his work on Instagram, but he's a Steadicam guy, and there's a clip of him doing like the whip pan in the jazz bar in the Lighthouse.
Oh yeah, you sent
That's
that
the guy
to me.
I'm talking about. And
It's
he does all the
fantastic.
Steadicam work in this movie, and he's done a lot of other work, but like that one dude is carrying this movie because it's intense work. I've
He
I've
did
put on a
such a great
Steadicam
job.
before. It's not easy. It's very thankless work. I'll tell
Yeah,
you that.
that's a good point.
In high school, I wanted to do that. I wanted to be either the cameraman or the editor, and then I said, screw that.
It's a tough industry to get into. Oh my God.
It's hard. It's a hard industry. It takes a ton of work. I don't have the energy for it. I acknowledge it. I know it.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I'll just make a movie, so I'll hire everybody. Let's just do that, guys.
Perfect.
Yeah, you make the movies. I'll do whatever you need. Like, I'm happy to
Yeah.
be there.
Amazing.
I will say, like,
I'll be your accountant.
when I watch Whiplash,
not your tax
yeah, when I
accountant,
watch
though.
Whiplash, I was like, oh yeah, this is a movie I would make, and this is the first time I've ever felt like that, where I'm like, this is what I would do. So I really love Chazelle for that. So, Kat, did you have any companion movies for this?
I made a list, and we've mentioned a few of them. And the list is kind of all over the place and for different reasons. So I did say 2 older movies because I know Damien Chazelle loves them, and I've seen them, The Philadelphia Story and Singing in the Rain. I saw The Philadelphia Story for the first time at Thanksgiving, and I saw it because I know he was talking about those 2 movies actually when he was referencing Babylon, but still, I think they're just really important to him.
Singing in the Rain comes up a lot in this movie too.
Yeah. Yeah, he swings around on a pole while he's Ryan Gosling while he's dancing. I think in one of the numbers, there's a lot of themes, and they straight up mention it as well, right? I believe, and then also like I think like Rebel Without a Cause. I'm tempted to say that like with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. There, I don't know if you guys have seen that, but
we love
Oh,
it.
the
yeah.
movie. Okay, the Wrecking Crew is the Sharon Tate movie. It's like that Margot Robbie playing Sharon Tate goes to sea. I've seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood so many times that I watched the movie The Wrecking Crew. I just think if there's a movie in a movie and you love that movie enough to watch it. But then I think I also mentioned Licorice Pizza. I know that's kind of controversial.
That's a good
I
movie.
fucking love that movie. I think it's amazing.
That's a great movie.
Sometimes I get heat for that, but I think it's amazing, and I think it also just has a similar like cinematography, like summery, warm, happy vibe, California vibe. And then I say Tick Tick Boom because I just think it's also a fun-loving, tragic ending, kind of about making it in the business musical.
Yeah. Like West Side Story and Tick Tick Boom are the only other good musicals we've had since.
I think
La La
that's
Land.
right.
Yeah, honestly, I need to think about that real hard, but yeah, I hear you.
Oh, and In the Heights, I forgot that those 3 that were really
yeah,
good.
I also mentioned for the same kind of reasons, I mentioned Rocket Man and A Star Is Born for
Ooh, yes,
musicals
yes,
with tragedy. Oh.
Yes.
And then for the kind of like right person, wrong time trope, I mentioned the Before trilogy.
Yes.
Lost in Translation. I mentioned Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yes. We're gonna be doing that at some point.
And 500 Days of Summer, Blue Valentine. And then I mentioned Crazy Stupid Love for obvious fucking reasons, y'all. Because
I have that one.
Yeah.
That's my number one.
Yeah.
I mean,
I have in parentheses when I.
That is the real wreck.
Oh yeah.
Like
in my notes,
I
have in parentheses. I had to. I'm like, come on. And then I can't explain why I put these ones down. I put down Silver Linings Playbook and The Worst Person in the World. I don't know if y'all have seen The Worst Person in the World, but it just makes you think about life a little bit. And she has it's not in English. Have you guys seen
it's a foreign. I forgot. I think it's
Norwegian.
It's like Upper European.
Norwegian.
Yeah.
But she has she just thinks a lot about life and her purpose and what she should be doing, and she has a kind of
existential crisis.
A couple right person.
And
wrong time
Renata,
moments.
I can't pronounce her last name, but she's fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know her name off the top of my head, but she's incredible.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, I love the list. Katie, do you have any?
I mean, I just had 4 written down where it's 3 different vibes. We got the music for Whiplash, more Emma and Ryan, Crazy Stupid Love, and then the, not for love kind of thing is 500 Days of Summer and Her.
And
each one's a very different, like, vibe, but, like, if you're going for a movie where the romance doesn't work out, or it's, like, further than the relationship, like, those 2 are good. But my favorite out of those is Crazy Stupid Love. Like, I watched that when I went to LA for the first time to visit my aunt when she was living out there. I was 14 and she put it on, and that was still one of the craziest plot twists ever. And I think I watched it with Zach.
Lynn Hagen. David Lynn Hagen.
No, the plot twist in that is hilarious.
It's fantastic. I love that movie. It's one of my favorites.
You both have kind of taken mine, but that's okay. When I will say a funny thing. So when I started to write down my what I was going to suggest, because they mentioned Casablanca twice, I wrote that down, and then I realized Well, I realize I feel like the
Smart.
biggest dumbass in the world if I'm recommending the most iconic Hollywood movie to people. It's like, yeah, no shit. Like, of course, just see Casablanca. Well, I shouldn't have to recommend it to you.
But it holds up well.
True. So I think, I would say
That's
as
fair.
a companion movie, I think it's an interesting because again, it's like, he doesn't get the girl at the end, spoiler alert for like a 100-year-old movie, but, it does that cool. It's like one of the OGs of that, if you really want to see where this theme and movie started, go see Casablanca.
Totally. Good one.
Yeah. The only ones that I had that were different were Umbrellas of Cherbourg. It's a 1964 Jacques Demy movie. So it's the movie where it's like the visual language of La La Land kind of comes from that. And the kind of conversational, they're kind of singing, but they're kind of not singing thing comes from that also. So it's just, if you like La La Land, you should watch that. It's a good movie too, but I like La La Land better. That's just me.
Yeah.
And
God.
obviously, for me, I'm Indian. Like, just watch Bollywood, like any Bollywood, just whatever you can find.
Please send me
If you like-
recommendations because I would love to branch out.
Okay, I will. Because it's like if you like this stuff, you like colorful stuff and these big numbers.
Absolutely.
Like there's like before maybe like 10 or 15 years ago, like all the stuff that they have some fantastic work that'll have you crying. If it's got me crying, it'll have y'all crying. So, I mean,
I don't know, you cry
that's
over
just
every
me.
movie, man.
No, I don't. Not anymore.
Every single episode you've said you cry over a movie. I'm keeping it
Yeah,
till
I
a
know.
tally, man.
I do probably more often
I
than
can't
not.
wait till we get to Rush Hour and Vikash is like, I cried.
I feel
I
you.
cried
next-
watching
our
Chris Tucker.
Next time we're gonna be doing School of Rock. So I didn't cry during School of Rock.
Yo, I almost
did
get a
cry
little
during
dusty
Inside,
during
though.
School of Rock.
I
though.
was gonna say, and then it's Inside.
Kat, have you seen Inside from Bo Burnham?
I love that
Yeah,
movie.
that one.
Incredible.
We're big fans. Yeah.
Kat, is there anything you want to plug? Any social media? Anything you're doing?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, well, my first and last name on Letterboxd, Catherine is spelled Kathryn. My last name, Gardner, Gardner. And then my TikTok, I'm so inconsistent because I started a new job that is long hours. But
I'm so sorry.
yeah, Leslie Knope's daughter. So just picture yeah, we've all seen Parks and Recreation, spelled the same as her.
But do go follow her. I will say, as a fan, a genuine fan. I never show my love to people, but since you're here, like, I send your TikToks to these two all the time.
That's so
I'm
kind.
always
Yeah,
laughing.
he does.
I'll post.
I
That
love
motivates
it.
me to post more because
But
I
it's just
forget
like
about
you
it. I forget it
existing.
exists for days.
I
I
mean,
forget
as
I
long as
exist
you're,
on the internet,
doing well,
too.
that's the main thing. But it's just like, I'm like, oh yeah, this is hilarious. I love your vibe
That's
always.
so kind. I live with an affliction every day that I can't take anything seriously. It's really hard for me to take too serious things.
But that's
'cause
the
I
whole
just
point. Don't take anything seriously. I don't take it seriously either. Like, that's how you have to live
Yeah.
life.
Oh my God. Well, thank you.
Because if people take things seriously, like, things get dull, and life will get dull very
I'm
fast.
better at just cracking
Got it.
jokes
Same
that
here.
have to
I'm
relate
morbid.
to it. You have some good like recommendations, some good like reviews and content where I seriously can't take myself seriously enough to do a lot of that,
Me-
but it's great.
Nah, for me, it's like I'm like you. I'm like I just don't. I'm just I'm a scatterbrain. If it happens, I do it. If it doesn't, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it is what it is.
Totally.
But it's been
Yes.
fantastic having you on the podcast. We will probably be having you on soon again for
Absolutely,
something else.
whenever.
So
I never shut the fuck up,
It
so
was-
I'll talk about anything you ask me to.
don't say that.
Dude, man.
It's a gift. It's a gift. Okay.
Thank you so
Because
much.
some people, yeah.
No, I love talking about
Okay.
this stuff. I appreciate it, you guys.
Are you saying it because you talk a lot too?
Yes, I do. Okay. Please let us have this.
Me too, it's okay. Thank you for listening to this episode of Cinema Pursuit. Cinema Pursuit is produced by Katie Nadell, Zach Nadell, and Vikas Patel. Special thanks to Cole Cooper for the intro and outro music. You can listen to Cinema Pursuit on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else you may listen to podcasts. Follow us on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram at Cinema Pursuit Podcast, Twitter or X at Cin Pursuit Pod, and check out our subreddit, r/Cinema Pursuit.